Chapter 878, Demon Hunting. On the Transcendent Continent, the so-called Transcendent referred not only to humans, but also to other living beings. Demons and ghosts coexisted. Humans were only one part of it. It was very unsafe outside the city, and even dangerous. Therefore, the Transcendent Continent gave birth to a class, the mercenary group. The mercenary group could obtain huge rewards by killing demon beasts, escorting items, searching for pills, and so on. In the entire continent, mercenary groups had the largest number of people among all classes. Mercenary groups had detailed levels. A powerful mercenary group would be respected by everyone. Of course, if it was a weak mercenary group, it would be cannon fodder. Holy Sea Town was a town, but it was not small at all. Its population reached several million people. The huge city wall was at least 100 meters high, and it was filled with all kinds of marks. On the city wall stood soldiers armed with bows and weapons, each of them exuding extraordinary strength. In the entire Transcendent Continent, humans are not the only ones. Powerful demon beasts devour humans when they are hungry. Therefore, even a small town has a population of several million people. Only by uniting together can humans survive here. These city walls are meant to resist the sea beasts. Shanghai Town is near the sea. Sometimes, there will be sea beasts attacking the city. There will be tens of thousands or even millions of sea beasts. There will even be sea beasts of the 8th or 9th level of the supernatural realm attacking the city. The marks on the city walls are left behind by the sea beast. Jiyu Qingwen explained to him. Wang Xian nodded slowly. This was a world that ate humans. Humans ate demonic beasts, and demonic beasts ate humans. Ao Yao, shrink down and stand on my shoulder. Wang Xian landed below the east gate of Shanghai Town and said to Ao Yao. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yao was also at level 1 of Transcendence. Although his concealment was powerful, he was still able to be discovered by people at level 8 or 9 of Transcendence or those who possessed ocular skills. With the hostility between the Transcendence Continent and demonic beasts, he might be killed directly. Ao Yao's body moved and turned into a size of 30 to 40 centimeters. He landed on Wang Xian's shoulder. Demonic beasts were very common pets in the supernatural continent. Although Ao Yao's form was not cute, it had a special power. Shrinking bones was a very common skill for a king of assassins. 10 low-grade spirit stones per person. Upon entering the town, the guard at the entrance spoke directly to Wang Xian and the rest. Naturally, their language was not Chinese. However, Wang Xian had long mastered the language of the Transcendence Continent. There were no traffic barriers. Spirit stones were divided into low-grade, middle-grade, high-grade, and top-grade. All the spirit stones on Earth were considered low-grade. 100 low-grade spirit stones were equivalent to 1 middle-grade spirit stone. Wang Xian had brought 5 million low-grade spiritual stones with him when he came to the Transcendence Continent. It was sufficient. After paying 110 low-grade spiritual stones, Wang Xian and the rest walked in. Due to the fact that the Holy Light mercenary group was too weak, they did not have a base. They only had a temporary residence. The temporary residence is the place that the leader rented in the past. The geographical location is pretty good. Dragon King, let's go there first and plan our future development. Jiyu Qingwen led the way respectfully in front. Make way, make way. At this moment, at the entrance, 4 to 5 people were carrying a huge demonic beast on their shoulders. The demonic beast was more than 10 meters in size. It was a snake-type demonic beast with a horn on top of its head. Even though it was dead, this demonic beast still emitted a strong murderous aura. It's the Horned Shark mercenary group. I didn't expect them to kill an extraordinary level 5 horned snake. It's really powerful. A Draconid pulled Wang Xian and retreated to the side. He looked over and revealed a shocked expression. The Horned Shark mercenary group is a 1-star gold mercenary group. It has a great reputation in Shanghai Town. The leader is an extraordinary level 6 powerhouse. Jiyu Qingwen introduced the mercenary group to Wang Xian in a low voice. The mercenary group had detailed levels. From low to high, they were bronze, silver, gold, diamond, epic, legendary, and mythical. Each level was divided into 1 to 5 stars, and the 5 stars were the highest. Wang Xian looked over and saw a badge with a golden sword and shield crossed on their chests. The word shark was written on it. On the badge, there was a star which represented 1 gold star. This was a symbol of strength. What is the strongest level in Shanghai town? Wang Xian asked Jiyu Qingwen. The strongest transcendent level 9, the mayor of Shanghai town. There are no big families in Shanghai town. The mayor is the strongest. Jiyu Qingwen said, only big cities have such terrifying powerhouses like the Dongshu. In the entire Blue Moon Kingdom, there are only about 20 Dongshu powerhouses. Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. The first change of the divine dragon corresponded to the transcendence, and the second change of the divine dragon corresponded to the Dongshu. The Dogfish mercenary group obviously had a great reputation in Shanghai town. Upon seeing their arrival, everyone opened a path and looked at them respectfully. The corpse of a transcendent level 5 demonic beast is worth 50,000 mid-grade spiritual stones. It's very precious. Jiyu Qingwen said enviously. Wang Xian looked around quietly and didn't say anything. He silently memorized everything in his heart. There were many different shops compared to the 9 cauldrons world on Earth. Formations, elixirs, weapons, demon beast bones, cultivation techniques, and so on. Dragon King, the temporary base of our Holy Glory mercenary group, is just around the corner at the end of the road ahead. A Draconid pointed ahead and said. Wang Xian nodded his head. The ground was made of a green stone which was extremely hard. The surrounding buildings were also made of stone which was exceptionally sturdy. There were a few wooden houses which looked extraordinary. Sigh, I've been rejected. I don't even have the chance to see Miss Ao Shue's beautiful face. Miss Ao Shue is full of pride. Let's not think too much about it. The Demon Hunters Academy will be coming to our Holy See town to recruit students tomorrow. I wonder if we can pass the assessment. If we can join Miss Ao Shue's team, we will definitely pass the assessment. At the intersection, 3 young men walked over and shook their heads as they walked. Demon Hunter College? Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he heard their conversation. He was deep in thought. This is it. At the intersection, a Draconid pointed at a door and said. This was a house with an independent courtyard. It was the base of the Holy Light mercenary group. Hey! The door is locked from the inside. Has the landlord been here before? The Draconid looked puzzled. I'll break it open directly. Jiyu Qingwen pulled out his long saber and slashed at the chains inside. Dragon King, please. After the chains were broken, the 10 Draconids pushed the door open respectfully and said to Wang Xian. Who? I told you to scram. Now you dare to barge in directly. You're really courting death. A cold shout came from inside. Following that, a sharp long sword came straight at them. Wang Xian, who was in the middle, was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. Chapter 879, Ling Yun Ambition. The sudden attack of the long sword caused everyone's expression to change slightly. The long sword emitted a terrifying sharpness as it went straight for Wang Xian's glabella. Huh! Wang Xian's expression changed slightly as a cold glint flashed across his eyes. He released his vision and flames landed directly on the long sword. The long sword that was attacking him was instantly blocked by his vision. The terrifying flames were burning on the long sword. All of Wang Xian's supernatural powers were comparable to the supernatural powers of level 3. The descent of the tree realm coupled with the spirit enchantment could unleash the power of level 4 supernatural powers. The long sword in front of him was a weapon of level 2 supernatural powers. Under the endless attacks, the level 2 weapon began to slowly transform. What? How dare you destroy my weapon? You deserve to die. An angry voice was heard. Following that, a fiery red figure drifted over. The woman had short hair and looked valiant. Her eyes were filled with murderous intent as she stared at Wang Xian. Beside her, 2 servant girls followed behind her. They were also staring at Wang Xian coldly. Are you the one who deserves to die? This is clearly our place. Why are you guys here? Jiyu Qingwen stared at the woman coldly. He did not care about her appearance at all. Now that he had become a draconid, anyone who dared to hurt the Dragon King deserved to die. You guys don't know who I am? The woman stared at them coldly and raised her head proudly. I don't care who you are. Get out of our base. Jiyu Qingwen stared at the woman with a gloomy face. How dare you? How dare you talk to our miss? Watch your words. A servant girl at the side stared at Jiyu Qingwen and said coldly. This is the base of our Sacred Glory mercenary group. Even if it's rented, it will expire in half a year. Why are you here? Jiyu Qingwen questioned with a cold face. When the girl heard his words, she raised her eyebrows slightly. I bought this place. I don't care if you have expired or not. Now, you bunch of damnable guys, compensate me for my sword. Otherwise, I'll make things easier for you in the future. You bought it. Jiyu Qingwen and the others' faces changed slightly. They were a little embarrassed. We have the lease contract in our hands. It will only expire after half a year. What does it have to do with me? I bought the house 10 days ago. I wanted to look for you guys to find the person who signed the contract with you. Now, it's time for us to talk about breaking into my house and destroying my weapon. The girl walked towards them with a cold expression. She stared at Wang Xian with a burning gaze. No one has dared to destroy my Ao Shui's weapon. If you don't give me an explanation today, don't blame me for being impolite. So what if I destroyed it? Wang Xian looked at the girl's burning expression and asked with a dark expression. It was obvious that this house was originally rented by the Holy Light Mercenary Group. However, the owner of the house might have sold the house after they disappeared for half a year. However, the moment they entered, the girl didn't hold back at all. She directly controlled her long sword to attack. She was filled with killing intent, causing Wang Xian to feel a chill in his heart. So what? You're very arrogant. If you don't kowtow to me and admit your mistake now and compensate me for my treasured sword, there will be no place for you in Shanghai town. After you leave the city, be careful not to die in the wilderness, the girl said coldly to Wang Xian. Her tone was filled with killing intent. You're courting death. How dare you speak to our Dragon King like that? When the 10 draconids heard the girl's words, their faces instantly turned gloomy. Jiyu Qingwen did not hesitate at all and directly attacked the girl. You dare to touch me? My father is the vice leader of the Squalid Shark Mercenary Group. If you dare to touch me. When the girl saw the imposing manner that Jiyu Qingwen instantly erupted, a trace of fear flashed across her eyes as she screamed. Let's go. When Wang Xian heard her words, he frowned slightly and shouted softly. It's the Dragon King. Jiyu Qingwen's expression changed and he stopped. Wang Xian turned around and walked out. Jiyu Qingwen and the rest stared at the woman coldly before following her out. Bastard, Xiaoye, go and ask my father's men. Which mercenary group did you rent this house to in the past? How dare they destroy my weapon and even dare to attack me? The girl watched them leave with a cold and stern look in her eyes. A servant girl at the side hurriedly nodded and walked out. Xiaogu, if I remember correctly, the owner of the house I rented belongs to a member of the Dogfish Mercenary Group. If she really is the daughter of the vice leader of the Dogfish Mercenary Group, this house might not have been bought. Walking out of the house, a middle-aged man said to Jiyu Qingwen with an embarrassed expression. Yes. Jiyu Qingwen nodded his head with a solemn expression. He looked at Wang Xian and said, Dragon King, it's our fault. If that woman is really the daughter of the vice-captain of the Squalid Shark Mercenary Group, we might be in big trouble. Wang Xian shook his head slowly. He did not expect to have a strong enemy the moment he arrived in this world. However, this also allowed him to witness the cruelty of this world. It was forbidden to fight in the town. If there was a grudge, one could enter the arena. However, in the wild, there was no order at all. The Dogfish Mercenary Group was a powerful force in Shanghai town. It was not something they could afford to provoke at the moment. Let's find a restaurant to stay tonight. Also, bring me to the center of the town to take a look. Wang Xian frowned and said in deep thought. It's the Dragon King. The center of the town is just ahead. Everyone nodded. Don't call me the Dragon King in the future. Call me leader. Wang Xian spoke slowly as he walked towards the front. It's the leader. The group of draconids did not hesitate and nodded immediately. The most eye-catching spot at the center of the town was the mayor's residence. Other than the mayor's residence, there was also the demon-hunting mercenary group. The demon-hunting mercenary group was not the name of a mercenary group. Instead, it was the headquarters of the mercenary group. It was located at the center of the town. Wang Xian looked at the branch of the mercenary group in Shanghai town and was deep in thought. He looked to the side and suddenly found a familiar name. Phoenix Elixir and Weapons Workshop. He smiled and said, "Let's go to the demon-hunting mercenary group and form a new mercenary group." Wang Xian had already made up his mind. He would form a mercenary group first. Since the elixir and weapon shop was opened by Feng Wan first, he would not compete with her. He would start from the most fundamental mercenary group in the supernatural continent. He would build a strong mercenary group, the most powerful mythical mercenary group. He would also become the leader of a mythical-level mercenary group. I'll first move to the seaside and accept missions related to the sea. I'll subdue the sea creatures and build a force under the sea. After that, I'll slowly conquer the entire sea. A smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. With the mercenary group and the sea, they could develop in two ways. If one day, you become the empress and I become the myth of the supernatural continent, the master of the sea. Let's see who succeeds first. Chapter 880, Demon Hunter Academy. Today, the Horned Shark Mercenary Group killed a horned snake in the eastern suburb swamp. I'm really envious. The mission to kill the horned snake is 1-star gold rank. After the Horned Shark Mercenary Group completes a few 1-star gold rank missions, they will be able to advance to 2-star gold rank. Today, the Demon Hunter Academy of Eastern Sea City is recruiting students. I wonder how many people will be able to complete the trial mission. Is there a mercenary group going to Murloc Island for a mission? If there is, we will request for a mercenary group above silver rank. As they walked into the Demon Hunters mercenary group, lively voices could be heard. Many young, middle-aged, and even old men were sitting at the tables and talking loudly. Some of them were shirtless and their bodies were covered in scars. Some of them were drinking and listening quietly. There were men and women. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings. The entire Demon Hunter mercenary group was huge. Every single one of them was exuding a ferocious aura. Most of them were above the extraordinaire level. No wonder Jiyu Qingwen and the rest wanted to establish an empire after coming to Earth. They are just small fry on the extraordinaire continent. That's why they want to live a life like a king. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the place and walked straight to the innermost area. In the middle of the area, there was a huge screen. The screen was filled with all kinds of missions. There were missions to hunt demonic beast. There were escorts. There were missions to search for spiritual herbs. There were large-scale missions and small-scale missions. There were all kinds of missions. The level of the missions ranged from bronze level to mythical level. And among the mythical rank missions, there was actually a mission to obtain the dragon tooth of the dragon race. Wang Xian took a glance and walked to the service counter. I want to establish a mercenary group, he said to a woman at the service counter. Establishing a mercenary group requires 10,000 low-grade spiritual stones. The initial mercenary group is 1-star bronze rank. If it is established, please pay the spiritual stones, the waiter said to Wang Xian without even lifting his head. Established. Wang Xian nodded and took out 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. Please state the name of the mercenary group. We will make a badge for all of you. 1 low-grade spirit stone for each badge. The waiter raised his head and said to him, "The Dragon King Mercenary Group," Wang Xian said directly. The waiter was stunned for a moment. Then, he sized up Wang Xian and laughed. "The Dragon King Mercenary Group? Young man, are you courting death? How dare you call yourself the Dragon King Mercenary Group? Leader, the dragon race has a strong reputation in the supernatural continent. Once someone slanders them, the dragon race will kill them immediately when they find out." The Draconid reminded him hurriedly. "Is that so?" Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect the dragon race to be so domineering. Young man, change your name. This name is not beneficial. The waiter at the front desk said with a smile. Then let's call it the Celestial Phoenix Mercenary Group. Wang Xian didn't mind it too much. There was no need to create more trouble over a name. Moreover, the name of the Celestial Phoenix Mercenary Group was not bad. Wang Xian thought about it and smiled. How many badges do you want? Also, do you want some other supporting tools? You can take a look. The receptionist continued to speak to Wang Xian. Take one of the mission stone plates. Give me 20 badges first. Wang Xian said directly. All right, wait for a while. The badges will be produced very soon. The mission stone plate costs 1 million low-grade spiritual stones. You can pay with medium-grade spiritual stones, the waiter said to Wang Xian. Low-grade spiritual stones. Wang Xian paid 1,020,000 spiritual stones without hesitation. The mission stone tablet was equivalent to the mission screen in the Demon Hunters mercenary group. One could view it through the stone tablet. This item was similar to a computer, but it was achieved through a formation. In the current Transcendence continent, there were no legendary-level mercenary groups. There were only 3 legendary-level mercenary groups. Ding, the system has issued a mission to unify the sea of the Transcendence continent. The reward is Jade Dragon Seed, Heavenly Tree. Ding, the system has issued a mission. The path of the strong has been opened. As a divine dragon, the dragon can amaze the world. The path of the mercenary group can be upgraded to a silver mercenary group. One can obtain a random extraordinary item from the Dragon Palace's treasure. At this moment, the system's voice suddenly rang out, causing Wang Xian to be slightly stunned. Following that, a smile appeared on his face. I just saw the instructor of the Demon Hunters Academy entering our Holy Sea town. The selection of the Demon Hunter College is about to begin. I wonder which lucky one will be able to enter the Demon Hunter College. I'm going to participate in it tomorrow as well. If I enter the Demon Hunter College, I'll be able to gain a lot of resources and connections. I might even be able to join some gold mercenary groups. Sigh, I don't want to anymore. I took the assessment once when I was 30 years old. It was too difficult. At this moment, the entire hall suddenly became lively. Most of the people were talking about the Demon Hunter College. Demon Hunter College. Wang Xian mumbled as he recalled the things about the Demon Hunter College in his mind. The Demon Hunter College existed in every dynasty and empire. Its main purpose was to nurture a mercenary group. As there were too many demons and monsters in this world, it required too many strong people to eradicate them and solve some hidden dangers. Therefore, a mercenary group was very important in the entire Transcendence continent. By entering the Demon Hunter Academy, one could learn more martial techniques, obtain more information, and cultivate the elites of the mercenary groups. Those who could graduate from the Demon Hunter Academy were all experienced experts. Similarly, it was very difficult to enter the Demon Hunter Academy. One could not be more than 40 years old, and they had to complete the assessment mission. The Demon Hunter Academy was free, and it mainly focused on actual combat. As long as one completed a certain mission, they could smoothly graduate. For everyone who wanted to become strong, the Demon Hunter College was the most ideal place. Of course, it was not that easy to enter the Demon Hunter College. There were more than a dozen towns under Donghai City, and each town had a few million people. In addition to the people in Donghai City, every year, there were more than a few 100,000 people who wanted to join the Demon Hunter College. Leader, it would be best if we could join the Demon Hunter College. Joining it would bring great benefits to our mercenary group. Jiyu Qingwen and the rest looked at Wang Xian with burning eyes as they spoke. Okay. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. The purpose of the Demon Hunters Academy was to nurture powerful mercenaries. The restrictions were very low as long as they completed a fixed mission every semester. In the Demon Hunters Academy, one could obtain some information and resources that the outside world could not. Your badges have been made. If you want to make a mercenary group uniform, you can go to the side to make a custom one. Also, after the mercenary group's level has increased, you can change your badges for free. Soon, The waiter shouted at them and handed them a badge with a bronze sword and a shield crossed together. Below, there were 5 big words: Immortal Phoenix Mercenary Group. The badge could be directly put on the clothes to symbolize identity. Chapter 881. It was not safe outside. Let's go. After walking out of the mercenary group, Wang Xian and the rest went straight to a restaurant. They rented a few rooms and ordered some food. The buildings in the supernatural continent usually had 5 to 6 floors and were about 20 meters tall. They were exceptionally sturdy. In every town or city, there would be 4 to 5 huge towers. Those towers were used to look at the distant towers to stabilize the formation and defend against flying demonic beasts. Dragon 2, Dragon 3, you guys are a little old. You guys have passed the age of recruitment for the Demon Hunters Academy. Wang Xian sat on the table and swept his gaze across the 10 people beside him. The names used in the past were too troublesome. Wang Xian named them from Dragon 1 to Dragon 10. Jiyu Qingwen was Dragon 1. Dragon 2, Dragon 3 were 2 middle-aged men. They were already over 60 years old. On the Transcendence continent, those in their 60s were middle-aged men, and those below 50 were young men. Those who had reached Transcendence would have a lifespan of 500 years. Those below 40 were considered very young. Yes, leader. If you enter the Demon Hunter Academy, we can only wait outside. We can wait until we finish the mission together. The 2 middle-aged men nodded and said bitterly, Dragon King, in the past, I didn't have the confidence to enter the Demon Hunter Academy. Now, I have 80% confidence. Long Yi's face was full of fighting spirit. With the divine dragon bloodline, our current strength has greatly increased. We can't say that we're invincible among the same level, but we're definitely not a match for them. Long Long San, and Long Yi were all at Transcendent Level 3, while Long Yi and the others were at Transcendent Level 2. In the past, the Holy Glory Mercenary Group was at Level 1 Silver Star. Long Yi was now around 30 years old. His talent was considered to be at the genius level. The rest of them were around 38 or 40 years old. They barely qualified for the Demon Hunter College. After becoming a Draconid and possessing the bloodline of the Divine Dragon, their abilities had improved tremendously. Let's see tomorrow. It would be best if we could join. Wang Xian nodded slowly. The next morning, Wang Xian woke up early. After a simple meal, the group of people brought along the badge of the Celestial Phoenix Mercenary Group and headed towards the square. Quick, let's hurry over. Son, remember what I told you. You must be careful. Survival is more important. Forget it if you can't complete the assessment. I wonder what the assessment will be this year. Last year's assessment was equivalent to a 5-star bronze rank mission. I hope it won't be so difficult this year. Early in the morning, the surrounding people hurriedly walked towards the square. Some brought their children along, while some looked excited. Those who did not participate in the assessment were prohibited from entering the square. A sign was placed at the entrance of the square. A middle-aged man stood there. On the shoulder of the middle-aged man stood a black crow. The crow's eyes were earthy yellow and it looked very strange. We want to participate in the assessment. Wang Xian and the rest arrived. Long Yi said to the middle-aged man. Enter. The middle-aged man said coldly. The 9 of them immediately walked towards the square. Brother, I'm the deputy leader of the Torrent Mercenary Group. I'm sending my son to participate in this assessment. Those who don't take the assessment, shut up. Those who take the assessment, go inside. The Torrent Mercenary Group is a 2-star gold mercenary group. It's a famous and powerful mercenary group in our Holy See town. What's the use of that? Does the Demon Hunters Academy care about a member of the gold mercenary group? Rustling sounds came from behind. Some young men in the square stood there, not knowing what to do. There were also some young men gathered together, wearing the uniforms of the academy. There are quite a number of students from Transcendence Academy. There are also quite a number of elite students from St. C Academy. There are at most 70 to 80 people from our St. C town who can join the Demon Hunter Academy. Now, there are actually so many talented students. At this moment, voices came from the side. They were discussing with an embarrassed expression. Wang Xian swept his gaze over. The so-called Transcendence Academy, Holy See Academy, was considered a beginner-level cultivation academy. Ordinary children would enter these academies to learn and cultivate systematically before breaking through to the Transcendence realm. Those who were qualified and talented could enter an intermediate-level academy, which was similar to the Demon Hunter Academy. However, the Demon Hunter Academy was very dangerous. The chances of death were very high when one entered the academy. This was because the Demon Hunter and Demon Hunter was a battle. Furthermore, there would be many life and death battles. One after another, more and more youths entered the square. Very quickly, the number of youths in the square reached more than 10,000. It's Ao Shui, Qing Feng, Beiming and the others. Their team is extremely powerful. It's almost 100% certain that they will be able to enter the Demon Hunters Academy. Ao Shui, the daughter of Vice Leader Ao Tian, Qing Feng, is the third strongest among the Transcendental Academy's current batch of graduates. Beiming and the Transcendental Academy's current batch of graduates are ranked second. All of them possess the strength of a Transcendent Tier 2. Furthermore, the group of people beside them aren't weak either. If they join forces, they will definitely be able to complete the assessment mission. It would be great if I could join their team. Move aside, move aside. They are walking towards the front. Let's move aside. There was a small commotion at the back. Following that, Wang Xian heard the group of people at the back making a path for them. Wang Xian turned his head in surprise and looked at the group of people walking towards the front. There were 8 people in the group. There were 2 women and 6 men. It's her. Wang Xian frowned. A cold gaze stared at him and the woman stopped moving. What's wrong, Ao Shui? The girl beside him saw him suddenly stopping and asked in puzzlement. She followed her gaze and looked over. I didn't expect to meet you here. Ao Shui suddenly laughed. Her smile was filled with coldness and playfulness. What's wrong? Ao Shui, do you know them? A young man at the side raised his eyebrows. He looked at Ao Shui and swept a glance at Wang Xian. Yes, my sword was destroyed by him. Furthermore, they wanted to kill me. Hee hee. Ao Shui was still smiling, but her eyes were like poisonous snakes. Is there such a thing? The young man slowly narrowed his eyes and swept his gaze across Wang Xian and the rest. It was yesterday. Ao Shui's smile slowly disappeared. I didn't expect all of you to participate in the Demon Hunter College's assessment. Very good. Hee hee. Wang Xian laughed coldly when he heard their words. When the surrounding people heard the situation, they looked over with a face full of surprise. Laugh it up. Laugh it up now. No one dares to destroy my sword and still want to attack me. Let me tell you, it's not safe outside. Be careful during the assessment, Ao Shui said coldly. Hehe, someone actually dares to bully Ao Shui. Looks like there will be a few more corpses in the wild. The corner of a young man's mouth curled up slightly. He held the long sword in his hand and smiled coldly. Scram. Wang Xian frowned and shouted at them coldly. Chapter 882 had been repressed for a long time. A cold voice rang out, causing the faces of Ao Shui and the rest to darken. How dare you bully Miss Ao Shui? I think all of you are simply courting death. Scram. Who did you tell to scram? Kid, if you provoke Miss Ao Shui, young Master Beiming and the rest, you won't even know how you died. Where did you come from, you brat? Watch your words, or you won't be able to live for long. However, just as Wang Xian finished his sentence, mocking and cold voices came from the surroundings. One by one, young men stood out and stared coldly at Wang Xian and the rest. Miss Ao Shui, do you need our help later? One by one, the young men had a look of flattery in their eyes as they asked Ao Shui and the rest. Ao Shui and the rest were among the strongest in the entire square. If they were to take care of them, their chances of completing the assessment would be much higher. In the Demon Hunter Academy's assessment, it was normal for examinees to form teams. As demon hunters, it was normal for them to have a team. As long as they could complete the assessment, regardless of methods or methods. If it's convenient, I'll lend a hand. Ao Shui looked at the fawning expressions of the young men and raised his head slightly. Yes, yes. The young men quickly nodded their heads. What's going on? Did they provoke Ao Shui, Qingfeng, and Beiming? There will be deaths during the assessment. This group of people is going to be unlucky. Ao Shui and the others are all experts from the mercenary group. I heard that they have gone on a few missions with the mercenary group. Their methods are very strong. They are really courting death. This is good too. They have fewer competitors. Look, the badges on their chests are actually the Bronze 1-star mercenary group. A Bronze 1-star cannon fodder mercenary group dares to provoke Ao Shui and the rest. Are they courting death? The people around were slightly stunned. However, when they saw the Bronze 1-star mercenary group badges on Wang Xian and the rest's chests, they revealed a mocking expression. A newbie dared to provoke a group of heaven's favorites. Furthermore, each of them had an extremely powerful background. Wasn't this courting death? It was no wonder that a few people would directly flatter them just now. Using a few newbies to curry favor with Ao Shui and the rest was the most suitable choice. When Wang Xian and the group of Draconids heard the voices around them, their expressions gradually turned cold. He swept his gaze across the people around him and a hint of killing intent flashed across his eyes. In the square, the rest of the few thousand people looked over mockingly. They were filled with schadenfreude. Chirp chirp. At this moment, the sound of a bird chirping resounded across the entire sky of the square. The teachers from the Demon Hunters Academy are here. Everyone in the square had a slight change in expression. They hurriedly whispered and the young men stood up straight. Let's go. Let's go to the front. Qingfeng raised his head and walked forward with a knife in his arms. Okay. Ao Shui nodded her head. As she passed by Wang Xian and the rest, she looked at them with a smile and said mischievously, "Do you regret it?" However, it's useless to regret it now. After she said that, she walked forward with a smile. Wang Xian's face was solemn. His eyes were flickering and he didn't say a word. Crash. At this moment, the sound of flapping wings could be heard from the sky. Wang Xian took a glance at their backs and looked towards the sky. There were 5 middle-aged men. Every middle-aged man was exuding a powerful aura. This terrifying aura was directed downwards without any concealment. How terrifying. His at least at Transcendent level 5. Rank 5 Transcendents are considered experts in St. C Town. All of the youths had solemn expressions on their faces. Although the lifespan of a Transcendent expert reached 500 years, it was extremely difficult to increase their strength. They needed large amounts of resources to comprehend divine abilities. Sometimes, a single rank could trap a martial artist for decades, or even hundreds of years. Not to mention, the probability of dying in this world was too high. Even Transcendents didn't dare to guarantee that they could live for 200 or 300 years. There are quite a number of people. There are more than 10,000 people. If there are too many people, there will be even more deaths. If we eliminate half of them, at least a few thousand people will die. 5 middle-aged men stood on top of a 10-meter-long blackbird, and 2 of them muttered to themselves. Their voices echoed throughout the entire square. The words of the 2 middle-aged men caused the expressions of all the youths to change slightly. However, all of them gritted their teeth and their faces were filled with fighting spirit. At this moment, they could not show any signs of cowardice. That was equivalent to being directly eliminated. The Demon Hunters Academy did not look at talent or age. They only looked at whether one could complete the assessment and hunt demon beast. This was the only standard of the Demon Hunters Academy. They are all quite brave. A middle-aged man laughed. This year's assessment mission will be carried out on the Murloc Island. Each person will be given 5 pieces of jade glue to complete the mission. If so many people go, they will be sent to death. Get lost. The middle-aged man standing on the left said. He touched his chin and shouted the last sentence. Murloc Island, obtain 5 pieces of jade glue. This is actually going to Murloc Island to obtain jade glue. The faces of everyone in the square changed slightly, and some of the young men even turned pale. We have to set off in 5 minutes. At that time, you will enter Murloc Island directly. We will not be responsible for any casualties. Those who want to leave now, Hurry up and don't waste your lives." The middle-aged man swept his gaze across the crowd below and waved his hand impatiently. I'll leave. I'll leave too. Murloc Island, the big-mouthed piranhas above are at least transcendent level 1. There are even level 4 and level 5 big-mouthed piranhas at the center. The young men's faces were pale as they lowered their heads and walked out. For a moment, there was a continuous stream of people walking out. This mission was difficult to complete for Transcendent Level 1 and Level 2 Transcendents. They had to be careful as well. Most of the people in the field were at Transcendent Level 1. They could only awkwardly walk out and withdraw. 5 minutes later, there were only about 1,000 people in the square. That's more like it. Everyone receive your assessment tokens. The duration of the mission is 2 days. As long as you complete the assessment mission, you can immediately withdraw. If you exceed the limit, you will be added to the credits in the future. Credits are very useful. There's one last point. If you die, you die. A middle-aged man said with a smile, "Follow us to the beach. The ship is ready." Yes. The people below nodded and flew in the air. Clearly, the Demon Hunters Academy had the privilege of flying in the town. Let's go. The few middle-aged men didn't waste any time and flew straight into the sky. Hehe, I didn't expect you guys to dare to stay here. Just as Wang Xian and the rest were flying into the sky, a mocking voice was heard. Wang Xian turned his head and grinned. I've been repressed here for a long time. Chapter 883, Kill. Coming to the supernatural world gave him a depressing feeling. He, who was invincible on Earth, came here. He was careful in every aspect. Yesterday, the girl attacked them directly with her long sword. She was full of killing intent. Wang Xian had the ability to kill her, but he could only endure it. In the demon-hunting mercenary group, he even had to be careful when naming the Dragon King mercenary group. This gave him a depressing feeling. There was actually someone who wanted to kill him now. Wang Xian looked ahead with a cold look in his eyes. Hee. When Ao Shui heard Wang Xian's words, she snorted coldly. Just wait and see. Wang Xian didn't say anything. He followed behind and flew toward the beach. The Demon Hunter Academy's assessment has begun. I didn't expect that the assessment this year would be about going to the Mermaid Island to hunt the big-mouthed piranhas. Moreover, we have to kill 5 of them. This is not an easy task. It's equivalent to a 5-star bronze mission. Among the candidates for this assessment, Bei Ming, Qing Feng, Ao Shui, Qi Lian, Hua Fengzi and the rest of the famous geniuses in Shanghai town should be able to pass. A few geniuses should be able to enter the Demon Hunter College successfully. Below, the people of Holy Sea Town were discussing in low voices. The Demon Hunters Academy was not so easy to enter. Moreover, it had an extremely high death rate. Those who could enter it were either geniuses without backgrounds or wanted to become a member of a powerful mercenary group. Some powerful mercenary groups were comparable to some big families and sects. When they came to the seaside, there was a huge ship docked there. The ship's body was dark, like a giant beast in the sea, emitting an unpleasant smell. This was a beast ship. The smell on it would make most aquatic creatures dislike it, so they would not approach it. Mermaid Island was not very far from Holy Sea Town. 50 kilometers away was in the shallow sea area, where there were many islands. The area of the islands was about 100 kilometers, and it was very large. This island was very strange. There were more than 10 mountains supporting it underwater. There would be seawater in some places on the island, and if one jumped down, they would be at the bottom of the sea. There was a group of fish living around here, the big-mouthed piranhas. The piranhas were 2 to 3 meters in size. Their heads took up 4/5 of their bodies, and they had terrifying teeth. With a single bite, they could even leave marks on transcendent weapons. They had a hard head, and their bodies were completely covered in fish scales. The weakest piranha with a big mouth was in existence at the first level of transcendence. The jade glue of the piranha with a big mouth was the most precious item on its body. The item for this mission was this jade glue. 1,000 examinees came to the ship, and some people who knew each other quickly got to know each other, preparing to work together. Some formed teams while a few chose to fight alone. Soon, teams formed on the ship. The largest team consisted of 20 people. The leader was a young man who stood proudly in the middle. When we arrive at Mermaid Island, we will kill them. Ao Shui leaned against the railing of the ship. She glanced at Wang Xian and said nonchalantly. It was as though getting rid of Wang Xian and the rest was a trivial matter. It's not that troublesome. We should try our best to kill more piranhas in the next 2 days. Bei Ming, who was beside him, had a head of short hair. He wiped his long sword as he looked to the side and waved his hand. Brother Ming, what are your orders? Not far from the side, more than 10 young men gathered together. A burly young man immediately walked over with a smile on his face. Do you see that group of people? I don't want to see them anymore. Bei Ming lightly said with a face full of smiles. Are they the ones who recklessly provoked Miss Ao Shui? Don't worry, Brother Ming, leave it to us. The burly youth slightly narrowed his eyes and coldly said. En. Bei Ming lightly nodded his head. The opponents this time, one is Qingfeng's group, the other is Qi Lian's group, and Superstar Golden Crack's group. The rest of the groups are much weaker. On the ship, a girl twirled the ring in her hand and said calmly, her face was full of smiles. However, in this assessment, I want to get first place. First, I have to set a small goal and get 20 pieces of jade glue. Hee. This time, I must get it. Only trash will only think about completing the mission. First is what I want. I want to enter the Demon Hunter College with the first place. This way, I can create my own powerful mercenary group. On the ship, some young men murmured, their eyes full of fighting spirit. Above the ship, 5 middle-aged men glanced at everyone below with smiles on their faces. This year, the strength of Holy Sea Town is not bad. Not bad. Compared to the students of East Sea City, it's still much worse. The 2 middle-aged men said with a smile. The ship was moving very fast. 20 minutes later, a huge island appeared in their line of sight. The Mermaid Island is ahead. Everyone fly over. After completing the mission, you can come to the ship. 2 days later, at this moment, we will leave on time. Those who don't come will be considered dead and eliminated. The middle-aged man shouted, now, everyone, set off. Let's go. Everyone on the ship did not hesitate and immediately flew towards the Mermaid Island. Dragon King, should we act now or wait for a while? Long Yi glanced ahead and said with a cold gaze. There's no rush. Ao Yarrow is already beside them. The corner of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly. After entering the Mermaid Island, death meant death. Even if he was killed by his companions, the instructors of the Demon Hunters Academy would not pursue anything. Moreover, the Mermaid Island was a good place to level up. At this moment, Wang Xian sensed that someone was following them. More than 1,000 candidates flew toward the Mermaid Island. However, most of them had dispersed. If each team went to a single location, there would be a conflict. Now, there was actually someone following them. Dragon King, these people have evil intentions and are filled with murderous intent. At this moment, the voice of the Draconids could be heard from the side. Attack directly and kill them. A hint of coldness flashed across Wang Xian's eyes. It's the Dragon King. The eyes of the group of Draconids were filled with killing intent. Wang Xian and the rest increased their flying speed and landed directly on the island. Instantly, a strong fishy smell was emitted from the surroundings. Keek, surround them. At the back, the burly young man saw Wang Xian and the rest increasing their speed as they landed. A hint of coldness flashed across his eyes. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly as he said to the dozen of people beside him, how dare a little one-star bronze rookie provoke Brother Ao Shueming and the rest? Die. However, when the dozen of people beside him landed on the island, Wang Xian turned around immediately. Burn the river and boil the sea. Kill. The group of Draconids followed closely behind. Chapter 884, Breakthrough. Burning the river and boiling the sea. It was a direct attack from the very beginning. Now, with Wang Xian's strength, it was easy for him to exterminate a level 2 extraordinary. Back then, when he was fighting against the leader of the Holy Glory mercenary group who was at level 4 extraordinary, the two of them combined and killed him directly. Now that there was a group of level 2 extraordinary individuals, Wang Xian did not hold back at all. He felt a little aggrieved these 2 days. Boom! Terrifying flames erupted directly. The flames within a radius of 1,000 meters instantly attacked the burly young man and the rest. Behind them, the group of draconids also erupted with their superpowers. When the 13 people who were prepared to besiege them saw Wang Xian's attack, their expressions changed drastically. Not good. The opponent is very strong. The young man who was the first to be hit by the flames had a drastic change in expression as he roared loudly. Hihi, all of you can go to hell. The 8 draconids slashed out with their swords and sabers. Shield. The face of the burly young man in the middle changed slightly. He moved his body and a shield appeared in his hand. A powerful earth attribute divine ability covered his entire body, turning him into a 3-meter-long aborigine. However, the 3 people at the front were unable to withstand Wang Xian's fire attack. Their bodies were instantly covered in flames. Not good. Fear appeared in the eyes of the burly young man. He shouted in a hurry, "Brother, why are you attacking us?" Hee. Wang Xian laughed mockingly. His eyes sparkled as he attacked the burly young man without stopping. Boom! Wang Xian arrived in front of him. The fire dragon bead appeared in his hand and swept across the surroundings. What? When his gaze landed on the young man's shield, it started to burn rapidly. His body moved and a large amount of earth energy churned in an attempt to extinguish the flames. However, it had no effect at all. At the side, the other 9 people in the burning river boiling sea were instantly hit by the dragon bead and the 8 draconids. The terrifying power of the flames, coupled with the full strength of the dragon men, landed on them. The group of dragon men were at the 2nd level of the extraordinary realm and were almost invincible in the same realm. The burning river boiled sea already had the power to kill those at the 2nd level of the extraordinary realm. After 2 terrifying attacks, the 9 people didn't have the ability to resist at all. No, don't kill us. We have no enmity with you. Don't. Hong. You can kill us without enmity. A metallic blade of light with a terrifying blade light directly cut through the middle. This strength, how can it be so strong? The burly youth in the center who was covered in endless flames had a horrified expression. They were clearly just a 1-star bronze mercenary group, they had never even heard of their names. How could they have such terrifying strength? Flames, the flames on their bodies. His face revealed a terrified expression as he looked around. However, he discovered that the closest one to them was a few kilometers away. As for Ao Shui Beiming and the others, they had no idea where they were going. With an ugly expression, he directly jumped into the ocean beside him. Peng! After entering the ocean, what frightened him was that the flames did not dissipate. Instead, they were burning intensely. They could not be extinguished. They could not be extinguished at all. If you want to kill me, let me kill you first. Then, I will look for them. A cold voice was heard. The burly young man widened his eyes and revealed a terrified expression. At this moment, the ice-cold water sword pierced through his body and kept him into his interspatial ring. Dragon King, we've dealt with all of them. When Wang Xian flew up, the group of draconids said respectfully, "Put the corpse away. Let's go." Wang Xian said to them, "It's the Dragon King." The corpse of an expert could be absorbed by the Dragon Cave. After being absorbed, it could strengthen the strength of the members of the Dragon Palace. A corpse of a level 2 supernatural realm could definitely create a level 1 supernatural realm member of the Dragon Palace. I'll go and hunt the big-mouthed piranhas. As long as I don't run into any level 5 supernatural realm piranhas, I'll be able to deal with them easily. The assessment. I wonder what benefits I'll get if I kill too many of them. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he stared at the huge island in front of him. This was a good place for him to level up. It's good to be a mercenary group. If I accept some ocean missions, I'll be able to understand the basic situation of this sea area. This place should be safer as the assessment ground for the Demon Hunters Academy. Wang Xian moved his body and dashed forward. The scale rocks on the island were uneven. There were also some seaweed and vines growing on them. Some of the seaweed was as tall as 5 to 6 meters and was densely packed. Dragon King, The big-mouthed piranha has a huge mouth and is of the earth attribute. It doesn't store much oxygen. Therefore, they can't stay at the bottom of the sea. They like to hide and attack the enemy when they are caught off guard. Long Yi introduced to Wang Xian. He nodded his head and his eyes flashed with a red and blue glow. The earth attribute was relatively strong in terms of concealment. This place was called the Mermaid Island and there were many piranhas. The jade glue in the piranhas was an important ingredient to refine a kind of medicinal pill. It was good for the skin if consumed directly and was loved by the ladies. The price was not low. Wang Xian's gaze swept forward and moved quickly. 8 draconids followed from left to right as they watched their surroundings vigilantly. Big-mouthed piranha, Transcendence Level 1. Extractable Dragon Energy, 0, 2 Dragon Crystals. Big-mouthed piranha, Transcendence Level 2. Extractable Dragon Energy, 2 Dragon Crystals. When a piece of information appeared in his mind, Wang Xian revealed a smile. With the penetrating eye and the system, he could perfectly scan all the hidden creatures around him. Wang Xian moved his body and looked at the 2 big-mouthed piranhas in front of him. They had a huge head that was 2 meters in size. The mouth took up half of the head and had incomparably dense teeth. They looked extremely terrifying. They were hidden in the grass and there was a hole below where they could enter the seabed directly. Earth conquers wood. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly as he began to hunt. Bind. A gush of azure dragon aura emanated from his body. The azure dragon bead appeared in his hand and attacked the 2 piranhas from the ground. The surroundings were filled with seaweed. It was the perfect terrain for wood attribute cultivators. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, the dense seaweed became thicker and longer, binding the 2 large-mouthed piranhas. Crack, crack. The green dragon bead flew above the 2 big-mouthed piranhas and transformed into 2 green dragon claws that landed on their heads. The dense wooden thorns entered the piranhas' bodies and killed them. Wang Xian opened his mouth and transformed into a dragon in an instant, devouring them. Ding. Devouring the big-mouthed piranhas has increased by 0, 2 draconic crystals. Ding. Devouring the big-mouthed piranhas has increased by 2 draconic crystals. Alright, there are still more than 10 levels of dragonglass left for me to level up. I'll level up first. The assessment will be a piece of cake. The Celestial Phoenix mercenary group will soon be able to shake the entire region. Wang Xian's face was filled with confidence. With the eye of penetration and the system, he could easily scan demonic beasts. After devouring them, he could rapidly increase his cultivation level. The corpses of demonic beasts could also increase the strength of the members of the Dragon Palace. Very soon, he would be able to build a powerful mercenary group and start to devour the ocean. Chapter 885, Draconic Aura. On the Mermaid Island, craggy rocks and densely packed seaweed covered the island. Within the cracks between the grass and the island, terrifying piranhas were hiding within. Piranhas belonged to the category of fierce beasts and did not have intelligence. On the transcendental continent, there were 4 types of creatures: humans, dragons, fierce beasts, and demon beast. The difference between fierce beasts and demon beasts was their intelligence. Demon beasts had powerful intelligence, while fierce beasts, just based on their beast-like instincts, were targets of hunting in the entire transcendental continent. However, ferocious beasts that had lost their intelligence were very strong in terms of reproduction ability. They were also the most common existences in the Transcendence continent. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Coo, 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 coo. The sound of vines could be heard. A dragon claw grabbed the head of a large-mouthed piranha. The dragon claw sank into the head and swallowed the piranha. The 21st one. I'm still 2 more dragon crystals away from breaking through to the 2nd level of transcendence. Wang Xian's eyes lit up. He reverted back to his dragon form and scanned his surroundings. Although it was very troublesome to change his form back and forth, his dragon form was at least 20 meters in size. It was too eye-catching. He could only release his dragon form when he attacked. Wang Xian stood on a protruding rock and scanned his surroundings. There's a formation there. Wang Xian frowned when he looked ahead. At this moment, He had already entered deep into the island. There was an energy blocking his vision. After all, the eye of penetration was obtained from a creature at the bottom of the sea. Its ability is limited. It would be great if I could really obtain an eye technique, Wang Xian thought to himself. He looked over there and turned around to search in another direction. The 8 draconids did not need them at all. Wang Xian decided to let them act on their own while he acted alone. After all, the potential of the draconids was not as good as the members of the Dragon Palace. After this assessment, he would call some strange demons and golden swordfish over. Second level of transcendence. After searching for more than 10 minutes, Wang Xian's eyes lit up. A smile appeared in his eyes. As long as he swallowed this piranha, he would be able to achieve a breakthrough. With a leap, Wang Xian easily controlled the surrounding seaweed to trap it. Then, he transformed into a dragon and devoured it. Wang Xian's current combat strength was comparable to a level 4 or level 2 extraordinary creature. He could easily kill it. Ding. Devour a level 2 extraordinary piranha with a big mouth. Extract 2 dragon crystals of dragon chi. Ding. Level up. Level up to the first change of the divine dragon transformation, level 2 of the supernatural. Ding. Level up. Comprehension of the divine ability, Eye of the Heavenly Dragon, level up. And I even obtained a divine ability. Wang Xian's eyes lit up as his heart skipped a beat. Eye of the Heavenly Dragon, peering up into the 9 heavens, peering down into the 9 netherworlds. Peering up into the 9 heavens, peering down into the 9 netherworlds. What a domineering introduction. Wang Xian's eyes were like torches as his pupils began to change slowly. The Heavenly Dragon was one of the dragon species in the Dragon Palace. Their most powerful means was to investigate. The Eye of the Heavenly Dragon was accidentally comprehended because of Wang Xian's penetrating eye. Buzz. In an instant, Wang Xian's eyes became deep. One of his eyes was the starry sky while the other was the pitch-black netherworld. It looked extremely strange. He looked to the left. There was someone setting up a formation there. Now that he looked over with the Eye of the Heavenly Dragon, the formation gradually disappeared, revealing the scene inside. 2 young men were fighting with 5 big-mouthed piranhas. The formation blocked off all sounds to prevent attracting the enemy. Goo 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 goo. Suddenly, at this moment, a big-mouthed piranha with an extraordinary first level flew out from the bushes and attacked him with a furious face. Wang Xian quickly turned around. The seaweed around him was undergoing a terrifying transformation. Coo-coo. All of a sudden, the big-mouthed piranha's eyes were filled with fear. It laid on the ground and looked at Wang Xian in worship. This is... Wang Xian was slightly stunned. The seaweed around him stopped attacking. This is dragon's might. It can suppress aquatic creatures that are of a lower level than itself. Wang Xian revealed a smile. Dragon's might was a talent that he had always neglected. It could suppress and control aquatic creatures that were lower in level than him. Now, it's even more convenient. Wang Xian's heart skipped a beat as he continued walking inside. Help. Suddenly, a scream came from not far away. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes. His eyes changed again and the scene before him appeared in his sight. More than 20 big-mouthed piranhas were chasing after an 8-man team. The 8 people in the team had pale faces as they cried out for help. 15 of them are at Transcendent Level 1 and 9 of them are at Transcendent Level 2. Wang Xian didn't hesitate at all and flew directly in their direction. Brother, help! The 9 people who were running away saw Wang Xian flying over and hurriedly shouted. However, when they saw that Wang Xian was alone, their expressions instantly turned ugly. What was the use of one person? Swoosh. Wang Xian ignored the 9 people who were escaping and brushed past them directly. Are you crazy? You actually dare to charge over? A girl widened her eyes and shouted loudly with a face full of shock. Go, let's run. The 9 heads didn't dare to turn back and continued to flee for their lives. Dragon's might. Wang Xian flew over and the dragon's might covered the area. In an instant, there were more than 20 piranhas with big mouths chasing after the 9 people. 15 of them immediately fell to the ground. The other 9 level 2 transcendents were trembling as well. Their eyes were filled with fear. Attack! Wang Xian's body shook as he ordered the level 1 transcendents directly. Coo 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 coo. Crack crack crack. The 9 level 2 extraordinary piranhas were caught off guard. 15 level 1 piranhas attacked them directly. Their huge mouths bit them directly. However, the huge difference in strength only caused some blood to flow out. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. However, Wang Xian's attack had arrived at this moment and trapped the 9 piranhas in an instant. This time, Wang Xian did not devour them. Instead, he directly placed the corpses of the 9 piranhas at Transcendent Level 2 into his interspatial ring. Currently, he needed 1,000 dragon crystals to advance to Transcendent Level 3. Only by killing 500 piranhas at Transcendent Level 2 would he be able to advance. 500 piranhas was not a small number. After the assessment, he could consider coming here to grind his level. Let's continue. With my strength of level 5 transcendence, I can basically do whatever I want on the island. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. He flew up to 100 meters in the air and scanned his surroundings with the eye of the heavenly dragon. Kill, kill, kill. With the help of the eye of the heavenly dragon, it was much easier for Wang Xian to kill the piranhas after he had leveled up. Furthermore, the piranhas at level 1 transcendence were under his direct control. In just half a day, the number of big-mouthed piranhas that followed behind Wang Xian had reached more than 300. There were also more than 50 corpses that were at Transcendent Level 2. However, Wang Xian did not encounter any mermaids that were at Transcendent Level 3. Chapter 886, The Genius of Shanghai Town? Let's go. Night gradually descended. When the sky turned dark, it would be much more dangerous. Wang Xian landed in an empty space with a satisfied expression. Around him, there were more than 300 level 1 big-mouthed piranhas guarding him. These piranhas could not leave a range of 2,000 meters from Wang Xian. Once they exceeded this range, they would immediately escape. Without any intelligence, it would be difficult to subdue them. Wang Xian was not interested in subjugating them either. The sounds of Long Yi and the rest fighting. Wang Xian, who was living comfortably with the jade glue, suddenly raised his head and looked ahead. He stood up slowly with a smile on his face. Troublesome. I was thinking of dealing with all of you tomorrow. Wang Xian stood up slowly. With a wave of his arm, he killed all the big-mouthed piranhas and kept them into his interspatial ring. These piranhas were used to nurture the members of the Dragon Palace. With a leap, the night of the ocean turned dark. Dark clouds blocked the bright moon in the sky. The sounds of the battle were very loud. They were at least 7 to 8 kilometers away from Wang Xian. I didn't expect you guys to be so strong. It seems like we have underestimated you guys. However, you guys must die no matter what. And that damn young man. Just as Wang Xian approached, a cold female voice was heard. Haha, you want to kill us? Wishful thinking. When our leader arrives, all of you will have to die. Do you think you can kill us? Wishful thinking. A rough voice was heard, and his tone was filled with disdain. Mph, how dare you spout such arrogant word? Pay attention, they are very strong. The sounds of battle could be heard. Wang Xian looked at the location of the battle and slowly descended from the sky. In front of him, a bonfire lit up the entire area. 8 draconids were fighting against Ao Shui, Bei Ming, and Qingfeng, the geniuses of Shanghai Town. The 8 of them were not at a disadvantage against the 9 of them. In fact, if it were not for the formation treasure in their hands, they might have already lost. At this moment, Ao Shui, Bei Ming, and Qingfeng looked extremely embarrassed as they attacked with murderous eyes. Is there someone fighting? That voice just now seemed to be Ao Shui. It's them. When Wang Xian arrived, 2 small teams rushed over from the surroundings. At night, other than the sound of the waves, there was also the sound of their battle. It was very eye-catching. When Wang Xian and the rest arrived, 2 small teams had already rushed over. There were also people flying over one after another. Wang Xian landed at the edge and looked at the field. With the current strength of the draconids, they couldn't do anything about it. Hiss, it's Ao Shui and Bei Ming. That's true. They actually fought with those 8 people to a standstill. Who are these people? Their strength is so strong. At this moment, the examinees also surrounded them, their faces full of shock as they looked at the battle's location. Ao Shui, Bei Ming, and Qing Feng were the geniuses of Holy See Town, possessing the strength of second-level transcendence at such a young age. The rest who followed beside them were all elite disciples nurtured by the Dogfish mercenary group, Bei Ming, and Qing Feng's family. However, they were actually on par with this group of complete strangers. I really didn't expect that our Holy See Town would have so many young talents hidden. A young man who acted alone walked over and looked at the group of Draconids with his eyes flashing. There were more than 100,000 people who had reached the extraordinary realm in Holy See Town. Among these 100,000 people, 90% of them were at the first level of the extraordinary realm. Now that the 8 Draconids were at the peak of the second level of the Transcendence realm, they were considered good fighters. Most importantly, they were still very young. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were young and talented. Zhao Zhixiong, come and help us. Kill them, and we will give you enough benefits. At this moment, Bei Ming, who was fighting, suddenly turned his head and roared in a direction. There, a red-haired young man was holding a staff in his hand and looking forward. Beside him, 5 youths stood behind him expressionlessly. Oh, benefits. If you give me 20 piranha jades, I can consider taking action, the youth named Zhao Zhixiong said to Bei Ming with a smile on his face. Fuck, why don't you fucking snatch it? Bei Ming roared loudly as the long sword in his hand blocked the Diaconides' attack, and his expression changed. 5,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Ao Shui shouted, is there anyone who can help us? If you help us, we'll be friends in the future. 5,000 middle-grade spirit stones. The surrounding people were moved. Haha, we want to be friends with Ao Shui. Zhao Zhixiong narrowed his eyes and immediately laughed. Including us, you dare to offend the geniuses of our Holy See Town? You're simply courting death. After Zhao Zhixiong finished speaking, the 7 to 8 young men beside him exchanged glances and said loudly, all right, help us kill them. We will definitely not mistreat you. A hint of coldness flashed in the eyes of Ao Shui and the other 2 as they said coldly, haha, all right. The group of people did not hesitate and replied loudly, everyone, are you courting death by attacking my people? Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and said coldly when he saw more than a dozen of them preparing to attack. Wang Xian's voice stunned everyone. Leader. The group of Draconids were delighted when they saw Wang Xian and shouted hurriedly. It's you, kid. Zhao Zhixiong, cripple him first and leave him alive. I'll kill him myself later. Ao Shui revealed an excited expression when she saw Wang Xian. All right, let's kill this brat first. Zhao Zhihai and the other team turned their heads with a smile. Their faces slowly turned ferocious as they looked at Wang Xian. We have no enmity between us. If you dare to make a move, you will have to bear some consequences. Wang Xian looked at them expressionlessly. Haha, a price? We would like to see what kind of price is there. A group of over 10 people stared at Wang Xian with ferocious expressions as they walked towards him slowly. Hurry up and cripple that brat. Bei Ming endured the attack of a Draconid. His face turned slightly pale as he shouted loudly. All right, Master Bei Ming, don't be anxious. Zhao Zhixiong chuckled as he stared at Wang Xian. Cripple his limbs. This bunch of people are really unlucky. That's right. A bunch of small fries actually dared to provoke Ao Shui and Bei Ming. They are simply courting death. This bunch of people are not weak. It's good that they are dead. There are fewer competitors. At this moment, 40 to 50 people gathered around. When they saw Zhao Zhixiong and the rest, they said with a smile on their faces, cripple my limbs. Die. When Wang Xian heard their words, a hint of killing intent flashed across his eyes. He moved his body for a moment. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, seaweed plants within a radius of 1,000 meters grew crazily and attacked them densely. Chapter 887, The Genius of Shanghai Town. You still dare to resist. The moment Wang Xian launched his attack, the faces of Zhao Zhixiong and the rest darkened instantly. He immediately raised the staff in his hand, and a blazing fireball instantly lit up the surroundings. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, the moment the flames on his staff rose, terrifying thorns rose up from the ground in the entire space and attacked the dozen of them. What? Be careful. He's very strong. Zhao Zhixiong's companions and the other group of people beside him quickly warned him. However, it was useless. The terrifying thorns drilled out from the rocks and surrounded them. Fiery explosion. Zhao Zhixiong's expression changed slightly. The fireball in his hand emitted a hot light and exploded in the sky. It directly exploded the layers of thorns. However, there were too many thorns and seaweed, and it directly covered all of them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The hurried sound seemed to be whipping the surrounding air. Countless thorns and seaweed weaved into a death domain. Ah! A young man's body was directly pierced through by the thorns, and he let out a miserable cry. Even one of the earth element cultivators was pierced through by the sea grass and killed. The sea grass was twitching slowly. The hardness of the sea grass was beyond their imagination. He is definitely not at the second level of transcendence. Zhao Zhixiong looked at the sea grass that was surrounding him and shouted in fear. Whoosh. However, just as he finished his sentence, a hard wooden thorn emerged from his back and pierced through his body. Brutal slaughter. There were a total of 2 teams. 12 people at level 2 of Transcendence wanted to surround and kill Wang Xian, but they were instantly killed. This was definitely not something that level 2 of Transcendence could do. What? When Ao Shui, Qing Feng, and Bei Ming saw the screams coming from this side, they widened their eyes in disbelief. At least level 3 of Transcendence. The expressions of those who were watching from the side changed drastically. They stared at Wang Xian in shock with their eyes wide open. The seaweed and thorns were withdrawn quickly, leaving behind more than a dozen corpses. A bunch of trash. Wang Xian glanced at them with disdain. He turned his head and looked at Ao Shui, Bei Ming, and the rest slowly. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Run. Bei Ming's eyes were about to split open. His eyes were filled with horror as he roared loudly. He slashed forward heavily and escaped into the distance. You want to escape? Have you asked us? The 8 draconids let out a beast roar and their arms exploded one by one. They transformed into terrifying dragon claws and attacked Ao Shui and the rest. Scram. This made Ao Shui, Bei Ming, and Qing Feng extremely embarrassed. They let out a loud roar. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, at this moment, the seaweed around them started to move crazily and covered them directly. Wood, thorns. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and earth thorns drilled out from the ground. The thorns were like terrifying tree demons as they darted towards them. Get lost. Ao Shui widened her eyes. Her eyes were bloodshot. She slashed the long sword in her hand and tens of thousands of metallic lights filled the entire space. The thorns in the sky were instantly cut off. Pa. However, at this moment, under the cover of her feet, numerous thorns were directly tied to her legs, quickly wrapping around her. Ah, you dare? If you dare to kill me, my father will not let you off. Save us, quick, save us. In the future, we will pay a huge sum of money to thank you. Bei Ming was also entangled by the violent brambles. He shouted out loud with a terrified expression. The expressions of the people who were watching changed slightly. They looked at Ao Shui and the rest who were being suppressed and pursed their lips. Brother, Ao Shui's father is the daughter of the deputy leader of the Golden One-Star Horned Shark Mercenary Group. Bei Ming is the young master of the Bei family of Shanghai Town. Qing Feng's father is an extraordinary level 5 powerhouse. You'd better. Poochie. Beside him, a 4-man team. The young man standing at the front frowned and warned Wang Xian. However, before he could finish his sentence, his head rolled on the ground. A flash of light flashed by. Speak after you've thought it through. Wang Xian turned his head and glanced at the corpse on the ground coldly. Everyone was shocked and hurriedly retreated. They were afraid of being killed directly. Those young men who relied on their own strength and acted alone had a slight change in expression. Their pupils couldn't help but shrink. They actually didn't discover how the other party died just now. Arth. On the other side, miserable screams could be heard. Within Ao Shue's team, the 6 young men were killed one after another. Ao Shue, Bei Ming, and Qing Feng were tied up by thorns. Their bodies were covered in bloody scars. Their faces were filled with fear. So this is the genius of Shanghai town? You want to kill me? Wang Xian stared at the 3 people who were trapped by the thorns, and a mocking expression appeared on his face. You. Please, don't kill us. Ao Shue's face was ghastly pale, and her body was trembling. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Please don't kill me. You brought this upon yourself. How dare a genius like you talk about killing me? Wang Xian snorted coldly and clenched his fist slightly. Ah! The thorny vines contracted and screams of pain could be heard. He actually dared to kill Ao Shue and the other 2. Hiss, aren't they afraid of the revenge of the Horned Shark mercenary group and the Bei family? The expressions of the people around them changed drastically as they looked at Wang Xian and the rest with fear. Ao Shue and the rest were almost 100% able to enter the Demon Hunters Academy. However, they did not expect to be killed directly. Furthermore, the other party was so unscrupulous. Put away their corpses, Wang Xian said coldly to the group of Draconids. It's the Dragon King. They put away the corpses one by one and looked at the items in their interspatial rings. Scram! Wang Xian glanced at the people around him and shouted softly. Everyone's expression changed slightly as they walked out hurriedly. Dragon King, we have already killed more than 30 piranhas. There were a total of 50 piranhas in the interspatial rings of those people just now. A Draconid walked over and said to Wang Xian, all of you can take it. Wang Xian nodded and sat beside the bonfire. At this moment, the news of Ao Shue, Bei Ming, and Qing Feng being killed spread rapidly on the Mermaid Island. When the other examinees heard the news, their faces were filled with shock. They were actually killed by someone. Their team's strength was definitely one of the best in the entire assessment team. They didn't expect to be killed directly. Furthermore, they were killed by a group of youths wearing bronze 1-star mercenary groups. That 1-star bronze mercenary group was not to be trifled with. After encountering them, they had to escape immediately. They even dared to kill Ao Shue and the others, who had a deep background. A youth who wanted to threaten them was even beheaded. Such a vicious person was not someone they could provoke. Chapter 888 was disdainful. The next morning, before dawn broke, the Mermaid Island was filled with noise. After Wang Xian cultivated for a while at night, he continued to kill the piranhas. With the eye of the heavenly dragon, there was no difference between night and day. He wanted to accumulate sufficient resources for the members of the Dragon Palace to increase their strength. Run! There's an extraordinary level 3 piranha over there. On the second day, exclamations could be heard from the Mermaid Island from time to time. On the second day, everyone didn't have much time left. In order to complete the mission, they had to take more risks. This made the battle today much more tragic than yesterday. Many examinees died tragically in the mouths of the piranha. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure flashed past a group of people who were running away with the sound of wind. The expressions of those people changed slightly. It's that youth. It's him who killed Ao Shue and the rest last night. His strength is definitely not below Transcendent level rank 3. Is he planning to hunt down that Transcendent level rank 3 piranha? Exclamations came from the mouths of the few of them. They stopped and hesitated for a moment before looking back. Leave this place. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. At this moment, a warning voice came from the side. They raised their heads and saw 8 young men staring at them coldly. They are too overbearing. Let's go. Let's go. They are not people we can provoke. Everyone's expression changed slightly as they left this place hurriedly. When Wang Xian was hunting, he could not let the people around him watch. This way, they would realize that he could transform into a divine dragon and it would be disadvantageous to him. After killing the extraordinary level 3 piranha within 3 moves, Wang Xian continued to rush to the next place. In front of us is the central circle of the Mermaid Island. There are even more powerful piranhas with big mouths there. The piranhas around Wang Xian were suspended in the air as he looked towards the center. In the center, the area within a 5-kilometer radius was filled with seawater. This was the center of the Mermaid Island. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. He could see many huge mermaids lying on the shore. There are at least 10 of them who are at Transcendent Level 5. There might be even higher ones. Wang Xian took a deep breath. This was not a place that he could deal with. He could only change his direction and hunt at other locations. There was no need for him to take the risk now. He had already collected the items for the assessment. He was now collecting resources for the members of the Dragon Palace. 2 days passed very quickly. Wang Xian looked at the time and immediately flew towards the ship. Behind him, a group of draconids followed behind. This time, he obtained a total of 600 corpses of extraordinary Level 1 creatures. He obtained a total of 85 corpses of extraordinary Level 2 creatures. 14 corpses of extraordinary Level 3 creatures. If he devoured all of them, he would be able to increase it by more than 400 dragon crystals. However, for the sake of development, Wang Xian kept all of them. He looked at the ship. 5 middle-aged men were floating in the air, waiting for their return. At this moment, there were already people who had returned on the ship. Some of them were filled with excitement while others were frowning. When Wang Xian and the rest landed on the ship, everyone glanced at them intentionally or unintentionally. Their eyes were filled with respect. Soon, more and more people arrived. When the stipulated time was up, there were already more than 1,000 people on the ship. The other few hundred people either didn't make it in time or were already dead. There were more than 20 people who died at Wang Xian's hands. Those who have completed the assessment, come out. The ship started on time. A middle-aged man walked to the front and spoke to everyone. In an instant, the youths who had completed the assessment mission walked out excitedly. There weren't many people, only 60 to 70. Only 5 Transcendent Level 1 jade gels have been handed over. The middle-aged man glanced at them and continued. More than half of the people immediately walked over and placed the jade gels in front in exchange for an admission permit. This admission permit required the person to verify it. It would leave an image and no one else could pass it off. Below, for every jade glue that exceeds 1, you will receive an additional academy point. Transcendent Level 2 jade glue, 10 points. Transcendent Level 3 jade glue, 100 points. Send them over one by one. The middle-aged man saw that there were still more than 10 people who did not hand in their jade glue and continued speaking. Teacher, I have 6, and I have a Transcendent Level 2 jade glue. I have 7, and I have 2 Transcendent Level 2 jade glue. One by one, the young men walked over arrogantly as they spoke confidently. They were all the leaders of their respective teams. That's right. The middle-aged man who had a cold expression on his face revealed a faint smile. Haha, you guys are really trash. So many people only managed to obtain so little. Looks like I have the most. A young man laughed loudly as he walked forward and took out one jade glue after another from his interspatial ring. It's Qi Lian. Qi Lian is very strong. I wonder how many he has obtained from this solo mission. Definitely not less than 10. The surrounding youths looked at the long-haired young man enviously. 1, 2, 11 Transcendent Level Rank 1 jade glue. Also, hiss, there are actually 3 Transcendent Level Rank 2 jade glue. He killed 3 piranhas of the same level in 2 days. Awesome, as expected of Qi Lian. The crowd exclaimed in shock. Even the teacher was a little surprised, and his eyes were filled with admiration. For a young man to be able to kill 2 vicious beasts of the same level in 2 days, it was already very impressive. One had to know that the fighting strength of vicious beasts was not weaker than humans of the same level at all. In fact, they were even slightly stronger. Killing 3 humans of the same level in 2 days at such a young age was considered not bad. Haha, I said that I should be the one who killed the most this time. Qi Lian heard the surrounding people and laughed arrogantly. Ha, Qi Lian, don't be happy too early, hey. At this moment, a young man walked over and placed 5 Transcendent Level Rank 2 jade glue in front of his teacher with a smile. You, Chen PH, Du Wen, what's so great about it? Qi Lian's expression changed when he looked over and he said with a dark expression. Hihi, nothing much. It's just 5 transcendent Tier 2 jade gels. The young man called Du Wen had a short stature and was rather delicate and pretty. However, at this moment, he said with a proud smile. He was showing off his sharp edge. Hiss, amazing. Each one is stronger than the other. Du Wen and Qi Lian are both well-known heaven's favored sons in our holy sea town. They were able to kill so many ferocious beasts of the same level. Their abilities must be extraordinary. Brother Du, you are really impressive. The surrounding young men were full of admiration. A few of them immediately flattered them. Hee. When Wang Xian saw their arrogant looks, he shook his head in disdain. A piece of jade glue. He walked over and placed a piece of jade glue on the table. The corpses of piranhas were all resources. He would not take out too much jade glue. One was enough. It would be a waste to have too much. What? You came up with a piece of jade glue? No, it's him. Fuck, it's the jade glue of an extraordinary level 3 piranha. Chapter 889, Whoever kills my daughter will die. A shocked voice was heard. A piece of jade glue, just a piece of jade glue. When the crowd saw Wang Xian casually handing over a piece of jade glue, a young man almost burst out in ridicule. However, when he saw his face and the piece of jade glue on the table that was 4 to 5 times bigger than the level 1 jade glue, he could not help but let out a cry of surprise. Hiss, the jade glue of an extraordinary level 3 piranha, it's him. The young man who killed Ao Shui, Bei Ming, and Qing Feng has at least the strength of a level 3 extraordinary. He should have killed more than one level 3 extraordinary piranha. Back then, we were chased by more than a dozen piranhas. In the end, he rushed over and killed the piranha. His 8 subordinates are also very strong. If they were placed in our hands, they would definitely be among the top experts. The only ones who could fight against them are Qi Lian and the others. When the people around saw Wang Xian, they were all shocked and discussed in low voices. Wang Xian and the rest were definitely dark horses among them. They had killed Ao Shui and the other 3 geniuses from Shanghai town. In this assessment, more than 20 people had died at his hands. Their strength was unfathomable. Jade glue of extraordinary level 3? The middle-aged man who was standing at the front was slightly stunned. A glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. He stared at Wang Xian with a burning gaze and said, Good. I didn't expect to meet a heaven's favorite in Shanghai town. Not bad. Here you go. This is the admission notice. There are 100 points on it. Very good. Among this batch of students, you are among the top. The 4 middle-aged men at the side looked at each other and said with smiles on their faces. Thank you for your praise, mentor. Wang Xian nodded his head faintly and took the admission notice. Wang Xian was completely unperturbed by the astonishment of the people around him. How could a transcendent level 3 jade glue be so excited? If he were to take out all the piranha corpses, wouldn't he be so scared that he would pee his pants? As for his mentor's praise, he didn't take it to heart. If a transcendent level 5 mentor were to fight with him now, it was uncertain who would win or lose. Wang Xian retreated to the side and looked at the admission notice in his hand indifferently. How arrogant. How handsome. The eyes of some girls on the ship lit up when they saw Wang Xian's cold and arrogant look. He had a perfect figure, a determined gaze, a handsome face, and a powerful strength. He was also a heaven's favorite. He was completely the Prince Charming in everyone's hearts. On the transcendent continent, anyone under the age of 40 could be considered a genius if their strength was at the peak of level 2. Anyone who reached level 3 could be called a heaven's favorite. As for level 4, they could be called a peerless genius. Level 5, they could be called a peerless heaven's favorite. As for those who were even higher, they could only be described as monsters. Such monsters would definitely be the most dazzling existence in the empire. Mph, after killing Ao Shui, Bei Ming, and Qing Feng, just wait for your death. Not to mention anything else, the Horned Shark mercenary group will definitely not let him off. A fallen heaven's pride cannot be called a heaven's pride. At this moment, Qi Lian and Du Wen, who were standing at the side, had extremely ugly expressions on their faces. They had originally thought that they would be able to rank first in Holy See Town this time. However, they had not expected that they would be directly crushed by this fellow who had appeared out of nowhere. Being crushed by a guy who had no blind spots made them feel a little embarrassed. The title of first place in Holy See Town's assessment results would be very beneficial to the establishment of a mercenary group and a team to recruit experts in the future. Qi Lian and Du Wen's voices weren't soft, and everyone around them could hear them clearly. The group of young men were slightly stunned, and then they slowly frowned. Ao Shue's team this time has many members trained by the Dogfish mercenary group. He might really be in big trouble. Ao Shue's father is the vice leader of the Squalid Shark mercenary group. He's an extraordinary level 5 powerhouse. It's impossible for him not to take revenge for his daughter's death. Then this young man is in big trouble. No matter how much of a heaven's favorite he is, he would be killed even if he provoked a 1-star gold mercenary group. The surrounding people thought of the background of Ao Shue and the rest and discussed in low voices. Their eyes would occasionally glance at Wang Xian. When the 5 middle-aged instructors heard the discussion around them, they looked at each other and shook their heads slowly. They had actually angered a 1-star gold mercenary group. What a pity for such a good student. The demon hunting mercenary group was neither a military academy nor an aristocratic academy. The demon hunting academies were established by the various kingdoms and empires for the purpose of eliminating demonic beasts and ferocious beasts. Even if they were to enter the academy, they would study and cultivate while accepting missions to hunt and kill demonic beasts and ferocious beasts. Therefore, the management was very lax and they would not get involved in the students' grudges. In every city, it was forbidden to fight outside the arena. As for leaving the city, it was not up to the countries to care whether they were dead or alive. An outstanding student had offended a powerful mercenary group and the academy would not say anything even if he was killed. This world was extremely cruel. The people on the ship were discussing in low voices. Some of the young men who wanted to curry favor with Wang Xian immediately dismissed this idea. Chimpate. Qi Lian and Du Wen stood at the side with a cold smile. They exuded an arrogant aura. Dogfish mercenary group? When Wang Xian heard the conversation around him, a thoughtful look appeared on his face. The ship arrived at the shore very quickly. 5 middle-aged men brought them to Shanghai town. Did my child pass the assessment? Son, did he pass? Daughter, how is it? The moment they entered the city, there were already 7,000 to 8,000 people gathered at the entrance. Seeing them arrive, some of the young men's parents shouted loudly, "Hey! Where are Ao Shue and the others?" In the center of the city gate, there were more than 20 people from the Dogfish mercenary group. A middle-aged man with an axe in his hand and a middle-aged man dressed like a noble stood there. Everyone looked at the group of young men who flew over. Soon, they frowned as they had a bad feeling. Ao Shue. In the center of the Squalid Shark mercenary group, a burly middle-aged man dressed in armor shouted loudly. An unbridled voice rang out at the city gate, drowning out all other voices. This caused everyone to be slightly displeased. However, when they saw his identity, they immediately shut their mouths and restrained the impatience on their faces. The loud voice didn't receive any response. The young men who were taking the assessment looked at Wang Xian and the rest who were walking behind them. The burly middle-aged man was slightly taken aback. His face slowly sank. The luxurious middle-aged man and the middle-aged man who was holding an axe glanced at the crowd. Their brows twitched violently. Bei Ming, Qing Feng. A somewhat anxious voice sounded, but there was still no response. Uncle Ao, Miss Ao Shue and Bei Ming Qingfeng have already been killed. At this moment, at the front of the group of young examinees, Qi Lian's lips curled into a cold smile as he spoke directly. What? Killed? Who dares to kill my Ao Kwong's daughter? The middle-aged man in the middle of the Horned Shark mercenary group's expression changed drastically, and a violent killing intent instantly surged from his body as he shouted loudly. Chapter 890, Assassination. The aura of a rank 5 transcendent exploded out instantly, and a terrifying, icy-cold killing intent filled the sky above the east gate of St. C Town. In an instant, the expressions of everyone around changed drastically, and those who were weaker turned pale. Vice Commander Dogfish, this is the city. Pay attention. An old man on the city wall shouted coldly and warned the middle-aged man. Who? The vice captain took a deep breath. His eyes were wide open like copper bells as he retracted his aura. However, the murderous aura accumulated from years of battle still made everyone tremble in fear. Who killed them? The vice captain stared at Qi Lian coldly as his eyes slowly turned bloodshot. The middle-aged man and the middle-aged man with a huge axe stepped forward as well, their eyes flashing with a fierce light. Uncle Ao, the other two uncles, Ao Shui, and the rest were killed. Everyone who participated in the assessment knows about it. Qi Lian saw the terrifying murderous aura and gulped before he spoke hurriedly. After he finished speaking, the group of young men looked in the direction of Wang Xian and the rest once again, intentionally or unintentionally. It's you. What kind of people were vice leader of the Squalor Sharks and the rest? Their eyes were filled with murderous intent as they looked directly at Wang Xian and strode over. However, when he entered the assessment circle, a middle-aged man stood in front of him coldly. Don't be impudent in front of our Demon Hunters Academy, a middle-aged instructor of the Demon Hunters Academy said coldly. Vice captain of the squad and the other two middle-aged men's expressions changed drastically. Kid, did you kill my daughter? The vice captain of the squad shouted at Wang Xian coldly. They deserve to die. Wang Xian didn't show any signs of weakness as he stared at them and replied coldly. Good, good, good. How dare you kill Ao Kwong's daughter? Kid, I'm telling you, you're dead for sure. I'm going to kill all of your family members too. The vice captain of the squad roared furiously with his eyes wide open. I'll cut you into pieces and make you wish you were dead. The middle-aged man who was holding a huge axe pointed at Wang Xian and roared with murderous intent in his eyes. The luxurious middle-aged man was the same. A cold murderous aura gathered around him. No fighting is allowed in the Holy See town. If not, you will be executed immediately. An old man led a team of guards and walked over to the guards of the Holy See town and said slowly. Don't worry, Master Qing. We won't fight in Saint See town. The luxurious middle-aged man turned his head and said expressionlessly. Well, as long as it's not in the city, you can do whatever you want. The old man nodded lightly. The admission notice has a date on it. Don't miss it. The 5 middle-aged men from the Demon Hunters Academy coldly glanced at the middle-aged men and said to the students who had passed the exam. It's the instructor. The students nodded and walked towards their parents' seats. Wang Xian glanced at the 3 vice leaders of the Horned Shark team and walked straight in. Kid, just wait for your death. Within 3 days, I will definitely take your dog life. A voice filled with murderous intent sounded from behind, causing Wang Xian to pause. In this assessment, that young man's results are the best. He killed an extraordinary level 3 piranha. Even the instructor praised him as a genius. Hehe, this kid is going to be finished. Once he leaves Saint See town, he will definitely be killed by the vice squad leader of Horned Shark. So what if his first? Isn't he going to be killed soon? He's really courting death. This young man actually got first place. But first place is useless to dead people. Some of the surrounding young men saw this situation and gloated. Very soon, the news spread quickly in Holy See town. The first place in the Demon Hunters Academy's assessment had killed Ao Shui, Bei Ming, and Qing Feng. The vice leader of the Horned Shark mercenary group swore to take revenge. As the news spread, everyone was stunned and started discussing. Dragon King, the strength of the Horned Shark mercenary group is very strong. The leader is an expert at Transcendent Level 6. The vice leader of the Horned Shark mercenary group was also at Transcendent Level 5. It will be dangerous for us to leave the city in the future. At this moment, the Draconid walked to Wang Xian's side and said with a face full of worry. I know. Wang Xian nodded his head. Let's make a trip to the Demon Hunters mercenary group. The Squawk Shark mercenary group was very strong. The other 2 middle-aged men were also very strong. In the eyes of many people, Wang Xian was almost certain to die. However, fighting was prohibited in the city. The Demon Hunters Academy would only officially begin in a month. However, Wang Xian could head to Donghai City at any time. As long as he didn't get discovered after leaving, it was fine. He could still leave Shanghai town quietly. Therefore, he wasn't worried at all. When he arrived at the Demon Hunters mercenary group, Wang Xian went straight to the front of the service desk. "How may I help you?" the waiter asked directly. "Hand in the mission." Wang Xian replied directly. "What mission?" "Please take out the mission items." The waiter replied directly. "The mission to hunt the big-mouthed piranha, 5 extraordinary level 2 jade gels, and a 4-star bronze mission." Wang Xian took out an interspatial ring and handed it over. "Congratulations to the Fairy Phoenix mercenary group for completing the 4-star bronze mission. All of you can upgrade directly to 2-star bronze. We can help you change the level of your badges for free. This is the reward item," the waiter said with a smile on his face. "Okay." Wang Xian nodded and took the reward item. Fox Flame Pill, Extraordinary Level 2. Extractable Dragon Energy, 11 Dragon Crystals. It's more cost-effective than swallowing it directly. Wang Xian smiled and swallowed it directly. Then, he walked out. Bam! However, just as Wang Xian turned around, a figure crashed into him. "Kid, do you even know how to walk?" A cold voice was heard. Wang Xian frowned slightly and looked at the person in front of him. Out of the 4 of them, the person who bumped into him was a middle-aged man. "What are you looking at? Are you unconvinced? If you're unconvinced, let's have a match in the arena, you little bastard." The middle-aged man stared at Wang Xian with a mocking gaze and said coldly, "What's going on?" "It's Wu Dazhuang." "Who's that young man? What bad luck." "His A-level 2 bronze mercenary group." Wu Dazhuang is the captain of the Squalid Shark mercenary group. TSK, we're watching a show." Wang Xian heard the discussions around him. He raised his eyebrows and glanced at the mercenary badge on his chest. "Get out of the way," he said coldly. "No way, you little bastard. You even dared to kill the daughter of our vice-captain. I think you want to die." Wu Dazhuang grinned and said in a sinister tone. "Hehe, I've already killed you. What can you do to me?" The corner of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly. "Haha, what can you do? I'm standing right here. If you see me, you have to go around. As long as you dare to leave the city, you will die." Wu Dazhuang smiled sinisterly and stared at Wang Xian with burning eyes. Chapter 891, was assassinated. So it was him who killed the daughter of the vice-commander of the Horned Shark Academy, the son of Bei Qianjun and Qing Gaia. He looks a little unfamiliar. I heard that he was the strongest student in the Demon Hunter Academy's assessment this time, a prodigy. A prodigy is like a crucian carp crossing the river. He hasn't grown up and is no different from an ordinary person. This young man is simply courting death. No wonder Wu Dazhuang would deliberately find fault with us. In the future, even if this kid doesn't leave the Holy Sea town, he will still be very sullen. He killed the children of vice leader of the Dogfish Squad. Even if he is in the Holy Sea town, he might not be safe. The sounds of discussion rang out in the demon hunting mercenary group. All the mercenaries watched this scene with smiles on their faces. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled as he stared at Wu Dazhuang. A hint of killing intent flashed in his eyes. "What's wrong, you little bastard? You want to kill me? See you in the arena?" Wu Dazhuang raised his head and looked at him with his nostrils. He said mockingly. Wang Xian was silent for a moment. He moved away from Wu Dazhuang and left directly from the side. "Haha, a coward. You little bastard, just wait for your death. Are you scared? Today is just the beginning." Wu Dazhuang laughed out loud when he saw Wang Xian leaving. He stared at his figure with a twinkle in his eyes and said loudly. Wang Xian didn't say anything and walked out directly. "Chempate." Wu Dazhuang saw that Wang Xian was ignoring him. He snorted coldly and walked towards the service counter. The mercenaries in the hall of the Demon Hunters mercenary group looked at Wang Xian and the rest leaving curiously. Their eyes were filled with mockery as they shook their heads slightly. "Dragon King, we'd better leave Shanghai town as soon as possible. Otherwise, there might be other troubles." Long Yi frowned and said to Wang Xian. He nodded his head slowly and felt a little helpless. After returning to the restaurant he rented, Wang Xian took out the mission stone plate and checked the missions on it. I can only check the missions around Shanghai town? It's a pity that I can't see the missions in Donghai town. Wang Xian frowned slightly. He had provoked a few powerful forces in Donghai town, making it difficult for them to advance here. He could only change to another place. Otherwise, it would affect his development. The sun gradually set. The entire Shanghai town was unusually lively. It was late at night before the surroundings quieted down. Wang Xian was sitting cross-legged in his room and cultivating. The situation was critical now, so he had no choice but to make use of every minute and every second to cultivate. After an unknown period of time, the surrounding space seemed to have quieted down. There was no sound at all. At this moment, a figure came in through the gap like a stream of water. Slowly, the stream of water turned into a black shadow. The black shadow looked at Wang Xian, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed. His eyes were calm and unperturbed. A dagger appeared in his hand, flickering with a dark glow. Step by step, he approached Wang Xian silently. He did not reveal the slightest killing intent. However, what the black shadow did not notice was that in a corner of the room, a light spot flashed past. The black shadow came to the side of Wang Xian's bed. His face revealed a hint of malevolence as he stabbed the dagger in his hand directly at Wang Xian. The sound of the dagger piercing through flesh and blood rang out. Wang Xian opened his eyes indifferently and looked at the black shadow, who was staring at him in disbelief. A claw pierced through his chest from his back and a sickle-like arm cut through his throat, rendering him unable to make any sound. Assassin. Wang Xian spat out 2 words slowly. He had sensed it when the black figure entered. His strange supernatural ability and powerful concealment proved that he was an assassin. Although fighting was prohibited in the city, the profession of an assassin could be active in the city. Killing with a single strike would allow one to travel thousands of miles. Let's go and see if there's anyone monitoring this place. Wang Xian's eyes were cold and filled with frost as he said, "It's the Dragon King." Ao Yaro's voice rang out and disappeared from the room quickly. He actually sent an assassin here to kill me directly. Good, good. Wang Xian's eyes were extremely cold. He originally planned to leave this place for the next 2 days and not fight with them. However, a middle-aged man was looking for trouble in public during the day and an assassin came to assassinate him at night. He really thought that he was easy to bully. Assassin, assassin. Wang Xian mumbled as he stared at the corpse in front of him. His eyes were sparkling. Soul catcher. A soul entered his eyes directly and devoured it. Devouring a soul would consume the memories within the soul. It would take a long time and a lot of time. Under normal circumstances, Wang Xian didn't want to perform soul catcher. However, this assassin gave Wang Xian a bold idea. Undercurrent Assassin Organization, the largest assassin organization in Star Moon Kingdom. Wang Xian closed his eyes and kept looking at the information one by one. As he was filled with a huge amount of memories, beads of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Phew, so this is the assassin organization. Wang Xian opened his eyes sparkled. It costs 10,000 middle-grade spiritual stones to assassinate me. Hehe, it's not cheap. 10,000 middle-grade spiritual stones is equivalent to a transcendent 4th-grade elixir. This is also because of the information they obtained. I'm only at transcendent 3rd grade. This undercurrent assassin organization is really secretive. They can accept missions with an item similar to a mission stone plate. They are active in the dark. Even the dynasty can't do anything to them. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. Dragon King, there are 2 people nearby who are monitoring us. They are not strong. Ao Yaro returned to his room and reported to Wang Xian. Kill them and we will leave the city, Wang Xian said directly. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yaro nodded and his figure disappeared immediately. With Ao Yaro's current strength, there was a 70% success rate in assassinating a level 4 transcendent. For those below level 4, it was almost a 100% success rate. His current cultivation had also reached level 2 transcendent. Assassinating a level 2 transcendent was a piece of cake. Let's go. Very soon, Ao Yaro finished off the two people who were monitoring them. Wang Xian had an idea. He called a group of draconids and immediately headed out of the city. It was late at night and the surroundings were extremely quiet. However, there were still people walking around. Wang Xian and the rest successfully left the city. Let's return to the Earth's Dragon Palace and bring a group of members of the Dragon Palace over. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he quickly flew towards the entrance of the Dragon Palace. The growth of the strength of the draconids was too slow. He couldn't use his dragon energy to strengthen them directly, so he could only call the members of the Dragon Palace over. There wasn't a need for too many. 10 golden swordfish would do. However, he had to bring more members of the strange demon clan over this time. In advance, he had to cultivate some light thorn dragon species. Since it wasn't safe in the city and the assassins could move around, he had to establish an assassin organization. With the strange demon clan as the assassins, the rest of the draconids would develop information personnel. He would establish a terrifying assassin organization that could intimidate the entire continent. In the future, even the draconids of this world would dare to assassinate and take all the head. Chapter 892, Established, Dragon Assassin Organization. It was very dangerous outside the city in the dark of the supernatural continent. Wang Xian asked the group of draconids to find a safe place to hide on the Mermaid Island. He and Ao Yaro flew carefully toward the location of the passageway between Earth and the supernatural continent. Wang Xian arrived at the bottom of the sea smoothly with the eye of the heavenly dragon and entered the Dragon Palace directly. Wang Xian's arrival surprised the members of the Dragon Palace. When he found out that Guan Shuqing and the rest were cultivating in seclusion, he did not disturb them. Call the 10 strongest members of the Ao Jian Golden Tribe over. Also, call the 20 strongest deviant demons over. Wang Xian ordered Prime Minister Gui directly. It's the Dragon King. Prime Minister Gui quickly instructed. Wang Xian came to the dragon pool. The corpses in his interspatial ring were thrown aside and were quickly absorbed. Hualala. 9 divine dragons coiled around the dragon pillars. Thick dragon blood flowed out from their mouths. There were more than 600 level 1 transcendent corpses. There were about 100 level 2 transcendent corpses. There were 14 level 3 transcendent corpses. 1 level 4 transcendent corpse. The last level 4 transcendent corpse belonged to the assassin. The dragon holes formed by the corpses of experts were not measured by size, but by quality. With so many corpses, the amount of dragon blood in the dragon pool increased rapidly. The quality of the dragon blood far exceeded that of the past. Basically, 2 level 1 transcendent corpses can allow a peak upper immortal member of the Dragon Palace to step into level 1 transcendent. However, the strength of level 1 is obviously not enough. They must have at least the strength of level 2 or even level 3 extraordinary. With so much dragon blood, they should be able to pile up 10 level 3 and 20 level 2 extraordinary individuals. Wang Xian calculated in his heart with an expressionless face. Dragon King. At this moment, a group of Dragon Palace members behind him came over and shouted respectfully. Enter and raise your cultivation base to at least transcendent level 2 before you come out. The lowest cultivation base of the group of members from the Dragon Palace was an upper-level immortal. Among the strange demons, there were 2 to 3 who had already entered the Transcendence realm. Currently, the combined strength of the strange demons was the strongest in the Dragon Palace. It's the Dragon King. All the golden swordfish and strange demons, including Ao Jian and Ao Yaro, entered the dragon pool. The strange demons have been nurtured into the light-pricking dragon species. Wang Xian thought to himself immediately. In an instant, the dragons that were entrenched on the 9 pillars spat out resplendent dragon blood. It landed on the heads of the strange demons and slowly sank into the dragon pool. Hey! Why is it so fast this time? Just as Wang Xian was about to return to his bedroom to rest, he suddenly realized that the strange demons in the dragon pool were changing very quickly. The last time Ao Yaro evolved into a light-pricking dragon, it took a total of 7 days. It must be because the quality of the dragon blood is higher this time. Wang Xian did not leave. He stood quietly beside the dragon pool, waiting for them to become stronger. Time passed slowly. 10 hours. In just 10 hours, the dragon blood in the dragon pool was completely depleted. One by one, powerful figures appeared in the dragon pool. Dragon King, Ao Yarrow and Ao Jian came directly to Wang Xian's side and greeted him respectfully. Very good. Wang Xian's eyes were sparkling. Transcendent Level 3. Both of them had reached Transcendent Level 3. Apart from them, 3 golden swordfish had reached Transcendent Level 3 while 7 strange demons had reached Transcendent Level 3. The rest were all at Transcendent Level Rank 2. With so many resources, Wang Xian was very satisfied that he was able to nurture 12 Transcendent Level Rank 3 and 20 Transcendent Level Rank 2. This is the strength of the Dragon Palace. As long as there are resources, they will be able to unleash unlimited explosive force. This is also the mother nest that the group of dragon gods obtained from the insect race back then. Wang Xian's eyes were filled with radiance. 12 Transcendent Level Rank 3 and 20 Transcendent Level Rank 2. This force was not strong. It was not strong even in Shanghai town. However, Wang Xian was not in a hurry. He used these 32 members of the Dragon Palace as the foundation to feed the Dragon Palace. Let's go back. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. Without any hesitation, he led the group of members of the Dragon Palace to the Transcendence continent. Now, Prime Minister Gui had already instructed Wen Chen to teach them the language of the Transcendence continent and some basic things. Therefore, there was no problem for the group of members of the Dragon Palace to follow them. They arrived at the sea of the supernatural mainland through the passage and flew out of the seabed quickly. At this moment, after more than 10 hours, it was already daytime on the supernatural mainland. With a thought, he called the group of draconids on the Mermaid Island. Wang Xian and the rest quickly flew towards Holy Sea Town. Trash, you actually let him escape. You guys are really trash. However, at this moment, at the eastern entrance of Holy Sea Town, the vice commander of the Horned Shark mercenary group roared angrily at his subordinates. Vice Commander, Undercurrent has failed. Moreover, the people we were monitoring have also disappeared. This. Wu Dazhuang, who was standing beside the vice commander of the Horned Shark mercenary group, said with a worried expression. If we let them escape, how can we avenge my daughter? How can I, Ao Kuang, still have the face to stay in Holy Sea Town? Ao Kuang's face was filled with malevolence as he growled in a low and distorted voice. Bei Qianjun and Qing Gaia's faces were also gloomy and they were almost bleeding. The murderer who killed their son had actually escaped. The pedestrians around the city gate were also slightly stunned when they heard their words. The murderer who killed their children has actually escaped. I really didn't expect that kid to be able to escape. He really has some ability. Keep your voice down. Right now, Vice Commander Shark and Bei Qianjuan's Qing Gaia are in a rage. That kid is really lucky. Otherwise, he would have died if he had stayed in Holy Sea Town. If we leave the city now to look for that young man, we won't be able to find him. He's not that stupid. The surrounding people whispered amongst themselves. This matter had caused a huge commotion in Holy Sea Town and many people knew about it. However, the kid was able to escape today, which was out of everyone's expectations. Hey, that young man. At this moment, a middle-aged man selling goods suddenly opened his eyes wide, pointed at the entrance, and shouted in disbelief. It's him, it's that young man. Why is he back? The surrounding people were slightly stunned, and quickly looked at the entrance. Vice leader of the Dogfish clan and the rest who were walking out of the city froze when they saw the group of people who came in. Why did he come back after escaping? Is he courting death? An old man couldn't help but exclaim. At the city gate, Wang Xian walked in with a smile on his face. Coincidentally, he met vice leader of the Dogfish clan and the rest. In an instant, the atmosphere around them froze. Wang Xian brought the group of draconids and the members of the Dragon Palace to a stop slowly. He happened to be standing in front of the vice leader of the Dogfish clan, Bei Qianjun, Qing Gaia, and the rest. Are you looking for me? Don't worry, I, Wang Xian, will not run away from Shanghai town with my tail between my legs. If I want to leave, I will do so openly. Wang Xian looked at them and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Chapter 893, Congratulations to Death. Wang Xian, don't run away from Shanghai town with my tail between my legs. If I want to leave, I have to do it openly. When Wang Xian's voice rang out at the city gate, the people gathered around were slightly stunned. Then, they took a deep breath. He had guts. He was not as strong as Wang Xian, yet he dared to come back after escaping. Furthermore, he was so arrogant. It had to be said that this kid had guts. Wang Xian. When the deputy leader of the Squawk Shark and the rest saw Wang Xian's calm expression, they revealed a gloomy expression. However, they soon revealed a ferocious smile on their faces. Very good. Since you dare to come back, haha. Kid, you really have guts. Let me see how you will walk out of Shanghai town openly in the future. However, the deputy leader of the Dogfish tribe said as he stared at Wang Xian ferociously. However, if you want to walk out of Shanghai town, you have to step over my corpse. I don't know if you have the ability to do so. If you don't, I will dismember your corpse into pieces and the corpses of everyone around you. As he spoke, a bloodthirsty look appeared in his eyes. Bei Qianjun and Qing Gaya, who were at the side, also stared at Wang Xian with a cold expression as they scanned the people behind him. You actually brought people here. How interesting. Everyone glanced at Ao Jian and the rest as they said coldly. Then I shall wait and see. Wang Xian walked forward with a cold expression. You are really arrogant. However, I like to kill arrogant people. The vice leader of the squalid sharks stared coldly at their departing figures. Everyone looked at Wang Xian and the rest with astonishment on their faces. He brought 10 people with him, but the strongest one is only at level 3 of the extraordinary realm. Although their strength is not bad, they are no match for the squalid sharks mercenary group, Bei Qianjun and Qing Gaya. This young man has so many subordinates. Which village does he belong to? It's a pity that he has some problems with his brain. Everyone was discussing in a low voice. Wang Xian ignored the discussions of the people around him. He looked at the Draconid and ordered, all of you, go buy a place to stay. Also, buy a communication stone plate. Now that there were many people, they needed a place to stay. In addition, the communication stone plate was the most important thing. The communication stone plate was similar to the computers on Earth. It was similar to the mission stone plate and was made with an array formation. Through the communication stone plate, words could be transmitted on the stone plate. It could establish a separate communication channel. The Undercurrent Assassin Organization received missions through the communication stone plate. Since Wang Xian wanted to establish an assassin organization, he could use the same method. It's the Dragon King. The 2 Draconids nodded immediately. Wang Xian gave them 500,000 low-grade spiritual stones. 500,000 low-grade spiritual stones was enough to buy a small house and a communication stone plate. 2 hours later, Wang Xian and the rest arrived at a small courtyard. The location was indeed remote and there were only 3 rooms. It was very cold. However, Wang Xian did not mind it. He walked into the courtyard and looked at the group of Draconids and members of the Dragon Palace. One by one, strange demons appeared and stood there quietly. They were not powerful, but they were not weak either. Long Yi, the 10 of you should investigate the whereabouts of all the members of the squalid shark mercenary group. Wang Xian looked at them and ordered. It's the Dragon King. The 10 of them nodded immediately. Ao Yarrow, there must be someone around us monitoring us. Send someone to kill them. Be careful. Don't be discovered. That's right. As Wang Xian spoke, he took out pieces of red paper from his interspatial ring with a smile on his face. The paper was made on Earth. It didn't exist on the Transcendence continent. The red paper was cut into words with the words congratulations written on it. After killing them, take away their bodies and place this paper at the spot where they died. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly as he spoke angrily to Ao Yarrow. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yarrow nodded as his eyes sparkled. Today, I will establish the strongest assassin organization in the Transcendence continent, the Dragon Spike. I hope that your strange demon clan will not disappoint me. Wang Xian looked at Ao Yarrow and said slowly, "Don't worry, Dragon King. No one can escape our assassination." Ao Yarrow's eyes sparkled with a cold killing intent as he said with fighting spirit, "All right, let's get rid of the people around us first. I want the dragon spike to shake the entire Holy Sea town." Wang Xian's eyes shone with a fiery glow. "Yes." Ao Yarrow nodded. "Be careful," Wang Xian reminded her. "Dragon King, don't worry. I have broken through to level 3 extraordinary and obtained 2 more supernatural powers." Ao Yarrow's face revealed a confident expression. Ao Yarrow, who was at the first level of extraordinariness, had comprehended the divine ability of nothingness and turned into nothingness for a short period of time. He was extremely terrifying during an assassination attempt. He, who had obtained 2 more divine abilities, was even more terrifying. "Okay." Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. Ao Yarrow bowed to him and beckoned to the 3 strange demons. In an instant, the 3 strange demons disappeared. As the strongest dragon seed dragon spike in the Dragon Palace, it could assassinate assassins who were at the peak of the universe. Even though it was only a half-finished product, it still had a terrifying ability that was difficult to understand in the supernatural continent. The 3 strange demons disappeared and walked out of the door, scanning their surroundings. Ever since the Dragon Palace dominated Earth, all the resources on Earth were used by the Dragon Palace. The ones who benefited the most were the civil officials in the Dragon Palace. They had all the information on Earth. Among them, there were assassination techniques. After they had learned them, they had analyzed them and taught them to the strange demons. All the strange demons had mastered things that were far beyond the imagination of ordinary people. 3 strange demons stood openly at the door of the room. They scanned their surroundings. Here, in a remote part of the Holy Sea town, it could be considered a slum area. There were not many people around, and all of them were old people resting at the door of their homes. Among them, 2 middle-aged men were sitting on the left and right respectively. One of them was talking to an old man. One of them was sitting at the entrance of a house. They were looking at the room where Wang Xian and the rest were. "Pa, this young man is not as simple as I thought. Yesterday, the 3 brothers disappeared without a sound. You have to be careful." A middle-aged man who was sitting alone at the door lit up a special cigarette from the extraordinary continent. He narrowed his eyes and muttered softly, his heart filled with vigilance. "Pu." However, just as the middle-aged man finished speaking, he felt a slight pain in his neck. Cough cough. His eyes widened in disbelief. At this moment, he suddenly saw his other companion, the brother who was conversing with the old man, suddenly flash with a white light behind him. Then, his body fell to the ground. How is it possible? Chapter 894. Congratulations on your death. Murder. Murder. On the narrow path, a middle-aged man was conversing with an old man. Suddenly, the middle-aged man fell to the ground. There was a long wound on his neck. The old man was slightly stunned, and then he shouted with a shocked face. He was dead. The middle-aged man who was conversing with him died immediately. There was a bloody mark on his neck. He was killed without any warning or even a trace. The people of the transcendent continent had all seen death before. Although the old man was shocked, he still hurriedly shouted. In the city, any death would be under the responsibility of the city guards. Every area was under the responsibility of the city guards. When the old man's voice rang out, a young man hurriedly ran out of the room. When he saw the middle-aged man lying in front of his house, he immediately shouted, "City guard, someone died here." "What?" Whoosh. The young man's voice traveled far, and there was a response immediately. In the sky, a middle-aged man quickly flew over. Flying in the city was the privilege of city guards. When the middle-aged man arrived, he immediately saw a middle-aged man's corpse lying on the ground. His face was cold. He immediately walked over to touch the corpse and looked at the wound on his neck. A fatal blow. The middle-aged city guard's expression did not change. He looked at the old man and the young man and asked, "Did you see the murderer?" "No, no." Just now, when the middle-aged man was talking to him, he suddenly fell to the ground. "I saw blood flowing out of his neck and was shocked." I quickly called you, sir. The old man quickly said. You didn't see him? The middle-aged city guard frowned and asked the old man. No. I haven't reached the Transcendence realm. I didn't even see him. The old man quickly said. Humph, you dare to commit murder in broad daylight. You're really courting death. The middle-aged city guard snorted and a trace of disdain flashed in his eyes. We'll capture him today. As he spoke, he immediately took out a stone plate and began to contact his superior. At this moment, some residents in the surrounding rooms walked out and looked over curiously. Wang Xian also walked out of the house and glanced at the corpses on the ground with a smile on his face. He dares to commit a murder in broad daylight and on the streets. He's really courting death. That's right. The entire city is covered by a formation. It can monitor all the places. Unless the murderer interferes with the formation when he makes his move, he will definitely be discovered by the formation. Some of the elders from the surrounding residents were discussing in a low voice. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. Formation? Surveillance? Is the usage of formations in the Transcendence continent so powerful? Wang Xian's expression sank. However, when he thought of things like the communication stone plate and the mission stone plate, a hint of embarrassment flashed across his eyes. If that was really the case, it would be troublesome. Miss Jin. At this moment, a shout was heard. Wang Xian quickly turned his head and looked at the sky. A woman was dressed in a cautious city guard uniform. She looked valiant with a long sword in her hand. Her figure was extremely hot. It's the captain. When she heard the middle-aged city guard address her, the woman was slightly displeased. Yes, it's the captain. There's a murder case here. Please open the array formation and take a picture. The middle-aged man realized that he had said the wrong thing and quickly said. The woman walked to the side of the corpse and looked at the corpse on the ground. A sharp dagger, a fatal blow. Yes, Captain. The deceased was suddenly killed while chatting with this old man. The old man didn't see anyone. The middle-aged city guard said. When did he die? The woman took out a blue jade plate the size of 2 palms and asked. About 5 minutes ago. The old man immediately replied. Yes. The woman nodded on the jade plate. Yes. Soon, the woman frowned and a serious expression appeared on her face. Only a white shadow flashed by. The enemy should have used the array formation to block the surveillance of the city protection array. Not good. Not only one person died, another person died. There, a white shadow. The woman revealed a shocked expression, and her eyes flickered as she looked to the left. Then, she lowered her head and repeatedly looked at the picture on the jade plate. This is. She walked to the side of the corpse and picked up a red piece of paper from the ground. The texture of the paper was very special, and the shape of the paper was very strange. This thing, was it not there just now? The woman picked up the red piece of paper and asked the old man. The old man looked over, and a trace of thought appeared on his face. I don't think there was this red piece of paper just now. Could it be from this middle-aged man? The woman didn't answer. She walked to the other side, saw a red piece of paper on the ground, and picked it up. There is only a white shadow on the city protection array. This red piece of paper was left by the murderer. It should be an assassin organization. It's not an undercurrent assassin organization. Could it be another organization? The woman frowned and put away the piece of paper in her hand. Confirm the identity of the deceased. Get someone to come and collect the body. The woman said, let's go. We can't find the murderer. The city guards took the body away and nodded. It was not uncommon for people to die in Holy See Town, and it was not uncommon for killers to kill people in the city. What was rare was to kill people in broad daylight, and it was on an exposed street. Every city had a formation that could monitor every corner of the city. But there was a problem. The room could not be seen, and it was blocked by something in the sky, so it could not be found. Therefore, when an assassin organization took action, they would usually do it at night in the room. This was the first time a woman had seen someone kill someone in broad daylight. However, they would only see the 2 red pieces of paper. Other than the 2 pieces of paper, there were no other clues. Hence, They would not continue to investigate further. After seeing the group of city guards leave, Wang Xian returned to the room with a faint smile on his face. "Ao Yao, is it because the formation can't see you guys?" Wang Xian said to the side with a smile. "It's the Dragon King. After advancing to Light Thorn, we will obtain a supernatural ability for every level up. After advancing to Extraordinary Level 2, we will obtain Light Shadow Supernatural ability. Light Shadow Supernatural ability. It can ignore any formation other than the demonic attribute." Ao Yao replied. Wang Xian nodded with a smile on his face. "I'm relieved now. Next, it's time for you guys to perform." Wang Xian smiled happily. One ignored the formation and the other possessed a terrifying and hidden race. When they wanted to assassinate someone, unless the other party was strong enough, they had to die. Next, when Ao Yao and the rest performed, they would soon shake the entire Shanghai town. This was also the first stronghold of the Dragon Assassin organization. Cultivate well. For a long period of time, we will need your strange demon clan, Wang Xian said to Ao Yao. "It's the Dragon King. Our strange demon clan will definitely become the strongest killer that will shake the supernatural continent in the future." Chapter 895, Daylight Assassination. "Bastard, how dare you kill a member of the Dogfish Mercenary Group?" At the City Guard office, the vice leader of the Dogfish Mercenary Group and the other members of the Dogfish Mercenary Group had received the news. When they saw the corpse, they roared angrily. Vice leader of the Dogfish Mercenary Group, the deceased is not one person. The corpse of the other person has been taken away. I wonder if this person is a member of your Dogfish Mercenary Group. A city guard took out a portrait and asked him. Vice Commander Dogfish's brows twitched violently. "He's one of our members." The murderer left behind a red piece of paper. "We can't find any other information. It should be the work of the killer. If Vice Commander Dogfish has enough evidence to prove the murderer, we can arrest him." The city guard handed a red piece of paper to him and said. Vice Leader Dogfish took the paper with an embarrassed expression when he saw it, but he didn't recognize the words on it. In the entire Transcendence continent, other than Feng Luan who had been to Earth, no one could recognize the word congratulations. "Bring the corpse with us. Let's go," Vice Leader Dogfish said to his subordinates with an embarrassed expression. "It's the Vice Leader." The members of the Squawk Shark mercenary group nodded, and their expressions were a little ugly. This was the fifth brother who went to spy on that young man, and now all of them were dead. Vice Leader, the one who killed the Eastern Han must be that young man. Since he dared to come back, he might be prepared. Do we still need to spy on him?" Wu Dazhuang walked out of the city guards and spoke to the vice regiment commander in a slightly frightened voice. At this moment, he felt extremely regretful. Yesterday, he had even mocked that young man. Could he have been assassinated just like his own dead squad members? Just thinking about it made him feel a little afraid. Send our brothers to guard the 4 city gates. Once he leaves, report immediately. I'll go look for Bei Qianjun and Qing Gaia, the vice commander of the Horned Shark mercenary group said with a cold expression. Interesting. They must know who did it or who bribed the assassins. At this moment, a woman was standing by the window on the 2nd floor of the city guard's office. She smiled as she watched the members of the Horned Shark mercenary group leave. It's very normal for these mercenary groups to kill each other. It's also very normal for them to hire assassins. An old man beside him said respectfully. It's all right to cause a little trouble. It's not good if it really gets out of hand. Forget it, it's not my fault even if you testify against me. The woman smiled and shook her head. Dragon King. At this moment, a group of Draconids walked over from the remote room that Wang Xian had bought. Dragon King, we have all the information regarding the residences of the members of the Dogfish mercenary group. Also, we have also obtained the information regarding Bei Qianjuan's family and Qinggu Cliff. The 10 Draconids stood beside Wang Xian and reported to him. All right. Also, you have to think of a way to publicize the Dragon Assassin organization and let others know our contact details. Also, how to pay the remuneration. Wang Xian received the information with a smile and handed it to the side. Ao Yao, who was hiding at the side, received it directly. It's the Dragon King. Some assassin organizations will establish their own spies. There must be at least a dozen spies in each city. We can also develop our spies. Long Yi and the rest hesitated for a moment before saying, "Develop our spies." Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before saying, "You guys go and find some people whose lifespan is about to expire. Then, we promise to let them live for a few hundred more years. The price is to become our spies. Live for a few hundred years." The group of Draconids was stunned for a moment before they revealed a shocked expression. Lifespan. Many people would definitely agree to let them be our spy if they were given lifespan. That's right. All of you go and look for those smart people. Those whose abilities are below Transcendent Level 1 will become our spy. We will also promise to give them some rewards. The number of people is around 20, Wang Xian said. Those who were not at Transcendent Level did not have a long lifespan. However, if they possessed the Divine Dragon bloodline, their lifespan would increase by at least a few hundred years. With a few hundred years of lifespan and a fixed monthly reward, it would be easy for them to find spies. It's the Dragon King. Leave this to us. We will definitely find the most suitable person. A Draconid responded immediately. All right, go. Wang Xian nodded his head. This afternoon, the two people who died here did not cause any commotion. The Dogfish mercenary group did not spread the news either. However, the failure of the Undercurrent assassin group and the death of 5 of their subordinates had already made the Dogfish mercenary group wary. Night arrived very quickly. It was in the base of the Dogfish mercenary group. Tell our brothers to be careful today. Don't sleep and be vigilant. Also, Ao Kwong, go to the Undercurrent assassin group and ask them why they haven't made a move yet. In a courtyard that spanned 5 to 6 acres, an old man sat in the center. He held a walking stick in his hand and frowned as he spoke to Ao Kwong. Yes, leader. I've already gone to Undercurrent's side. The other party said that the assassins they sent out have already been killed. The other party's strength is at least Transcendent 4th rank. They need to send out Transcendent 5th rank assassins. They need to add another 500,000 mid-grade spirit stones. Ao Kwong hurriedly replied. 500,000 mid-grade spirit stones? Why aren't they going to rob them? The old man's face was slightly embarrassed as he stared at Ao Kwong with dissatisfaction. Leader, I'll pay for this. He killed my daughter. No matter how great the price is, I'll destroy him. Ao Kwong saw the leader's expression and hurriedly said with an ugly expression. Ian, I'll leave it to you. Hurry up and kill that brat. I don't wish for any more brothers to die because of this. The old man slowly nodded. Yes. Night arrived quietly. Tonight, regardless of whether it was the Horned Shark mercenary group, the Bei Qianjun family, or the Qing Gaia family, none of them slept. They had no choice but to be careful since they were suspected of being assassinated by an assassin. As night fell, everyone was cultivating in the base. Within the Horned Shark mercenary group, there were 4 middle-aged watchmen on high alert. It's almost dawn. There's no movement at all. Our base has a Transcendent Tier 5 array defense. The moment the other party steps in, we'll be able to sense it. There's nothing wrong with being careful. There's nothing wrong with being on guard for the entire night. The 4 middle-aged men laughed as they chatted. As a powerful mercenary group, the reason they were able to reach this point was not just because of their strength. It was also because of their experience and patience. Even if there was a hint of danger, they would be 100% alert. They had provoked a young man and suspected that he had some strength, so they would treat him 100%. A lion uses its full strength when hunting a rabbit. When the sky was completely bright, the 4 middle-aged men became even more relaxed. There were even sounds coming from some rooms in the base. Seeing this situation, the 4 middle-aged men also walked into the rooms with smiles on their faces, ready to wash up. At this moment, almost invisible ripples appeared in the sky. Chapter 896, During the Day. The strange demon had evolved into a light thorn. Their most powerful assassination was during the day, and at night, they were not as strong as during the day. Moreover, the the strange demon discovered that the members of the Horned Shark mercenary group were very vigilant. Their vigilance at night was even higher than during the day. The strange demon grasped this time an opportunity to directly enter the Horned Shark mercenary group. After entering, some members of the Horned Shark mercenary group were still cultivating, while some had already started to put on their clothes and wash up. I've been on guard for a whole night. In a room, a young man was wearing his clothes with slight dissatisfaction. Hey, kid, you should know that raising your guard is to protect your own life. Although it's a waste of a night to be on guard, it's still worth it. The middle-aged man who was in the same room as the young man reminded with a smile. It's best to kill that fellow as soon as possible. It saves us so much trouble. HMPH, he dared to kill the daughter of our vice leader. If we meet him in the wild, his life would be worse than death. Let him know how powerful our Horned Shark mercenary group is, the young man still said with some dissatisfaction. Don't worry. Our leader is also paying attention to this matter now. That kid will die very soon, the middle-aged man said with confidence. I heard that brat is also a Heaven's Chosen. He entered the Demon Hunter Academy with the result of first place. HMPH, what a pity, he doesn't have a brain. The corners of the young man's mouth curled up slightly, and his eyes were filled with schadenfreude. Uncle Lee, throw my sword over. The young man tidied his clothes and stretched out his hand as he said. Uncle Lee? The young man suddenly realized that the middle-aged man didn't respond, nor did he make any sound. He turned his head around in puzzlement. Suddenly, his eyes widened, filled with disbelief. Cough cough cough. The young man clutched his neck, his eyes filled with terror. Soon after, his consciousness slowly disappeared and he fell to the ground. At the same time, the same thing happened in the other rooms. In a room in the center, Ao Kwong was sitting cross-legged and cultivating. Suddenly, two balls of light appeared in the air. The white light had patterns on it, making it look like a completely white eye that was filled with strangeness. Piercing pupil. The extraordinary third-level light-piercing divine ability, piercing pupil. Piercing pupil could instantly find the opponent's weakness. It could clearly see the enemy's weak points in defense. The light-piercing dragon was another powerful divine ability. Buzz. When piercing pupil was activated, Ao Yarrow instantly charged towards Ao Kwong. Transcendence Level 3 Assassinating Transcendence Level 5. Crossing 2 stages. Boom. Who dares to assassinate me? However, the moment Ao Yarrow attempted to assassinate him, Ao Kwong opened his eyes and shot out a terrifying cold light as he coldly roared. Die. When Ao Kwong saw Ao Yarrow who was already in front of him, he roared angrily. In an instant, his entire body was like an erupting volcano. A terrifying flame attacked Ao Yarrow. When Ao Yarrow saw that he was discovered by Ao Kwong, his expression did not change at all. His sharp fist instantly arrived in front of Ao Yarrow. Buzz. At this moment, Ao Yarrow increased his speed and directly met the terrifying flaming fist. What? When Ao Kwong felt that he was about to hit his opponent, his fist actually directly pierced through. How was this possible? How could his senses be wrong? His opponent seemed to have turned into air. Divine ability, nothingness. At this moment, a sharp claw pierced through Ao Kwong's body. Ao Kwong was shocked once more, and a hint of fear appeared on his face. The claw pierced through his heart. Why didn't it pierce through him directly? Could it be that he had discovered the heart armor on his chest? How was this possible? Pu. In just an instant, the claw pierced through his heart, stirring it slightly. Die. Ao Kwong opened his eyes wide, blood and tears appeared in his eyes. With a wild howl, he gathered the power in his body and attacked in front of him. Whoosh. Ao Yarrow's expression changed drastically. He quickly flew into the air and escaped into the distance. Damn you, don't even think about escaping. Ao Kwong howled and the entire house was shattered under the terrifying power. Who dares to barge in? At this moment, an angry roar came from the side, and he quickly rushed out of the room. When he rushed out of the room, he immediately saw that Ao Kwong's room had already been shattered. His entire body was burning with flames as he stood there. Ao Kwong, who is he? The face of the captain of the Horned Shark mercenary group was extremely gloomy, and he roared at Ao Kwong in a deep voice. However, Ao Kwong did not reply. The flames on his body slowly disappeared and he stood there stiffly. The captain's face changed drastically. He moved and instantly appeared in front of Ao Kwong. When he saw the bloody hole on his chest, his expression changed drastically. However, he suddenly widened his eyes and stared at his surroundings in disbelief. Ka. Commander, what happened? At this moment, a middle-aged man and an old man walked out from 3 to 4 rooms and asked with a surprised expression. Commander Dogfish swept his gaze across the other rooms with a solemn expression and took a deep breath. Go to the other rooms and take a look. Yes, it's Commander. The 7 to 8 people widened their eyes and their expressions slowly darkened. They hurriedly walked towards the rooms at the side. What happened? At this moment, voices rang out one after another. In the sky, a woman and a dozen city guards flew toward them. The Dogfish mercenary group was located in the center of Holy See Town. Next to it was a bustling street. The arrogant roar, the violent aura, and the sound of the houses exploding instantly attracted many people around them. Especially at the place where the house exploded, there was a gap, so many people could see the situation inside the base of the Dogfish mercenary group. Leader, the others have all disappeared. There are bloodstains on the ground, and there are red pieces of paper. 7 or 8 people walked out of the rooms one by one, with their eyes wide open, and said with a terrified tone. The leader of the Dogfish mercenary group had a gloomy expression on his face and did not say anything. Today, there were more than 40 people from the Dogfish mercenary group living here, and only 7 or 8 of them survived. Among them, Vice Leader Ao Kwong was also dead. Red paper? When the woman who flew over from the sky heard the words red paper, her face revealed surprise. The city guards behind her also looked at each other in shock. What happened to Captain Shark? The woman flew into the courtyard and asked with a frown. Look, it's Ao Kwong. He actually. At this moment, a city guard's shocked voice suddenly came from the side. Ao Kwong was the vice captain of the Shark mercenary group, an extraordinary 5th-rank expert. In Holy See Town, he was also a big shot. His strength could definitely be ranked in the top 50. Now, he was actually assassinated. More than 30 members died. More than 30 people died. Captain Dogfish's body trembled, and his eyes were bloodshot. However, when they heard Captain Dogfish's words, everyone's expression changed slightly. Creak. At this moment, the magnificent 10-meter-wide door of the Dogfish mercenary group was pushed open, and a sound was heard. Everyone looked over, and their pupils couldn't help but shrink again. On the door was a 2-meter-wide red piece of paper. Below it were 3 lines of words from the transcendent continent. This piece of paper is called Congratulations. Congratulations on your death. Dragon Assassin Organization. Chapter 897, Shook the Holy See Town. This piece of paper is called Congratulations. Congratulations on your death. Dragon Assassin Organization. The woman standing in front of the city guards widened her eyes and read the words on the door in shock. A huge red piece of paper was stuck on the door. It looked festive, but the words on it made people feel inexplicably horrified. Congratulations on death. A red piece of paper. Dragon Assassin Organization. The door opened and attracted the attention of the people on the street outside. When they saw the piece of paper stuck on the door, they all widened their eyes. Dragon Assassin Organization? What kind of assassin organization is this? Why am I hearing about it for the first time? It's too arrogant, too domineering. It actually assassinated the vice leader of the Dogfish mercenary group. It seems that other than him, a lot of people died. Is this a newly established assassin organization? How terrifying. The surrounding people widened their eyes filled with fear. The Horned Shark mercenary group, one of the top 3 mercenary groups in the entire Holy See Town, had been directly killed by an assassin. The death of the vice leader Ao Kwong was simply shocking. Ao Kwong, a level 5 transcendent, was a powerhouse in the entire Holy See Town. Now, he was actually killed in the base. It seemed that this dragon assassin organization was able to assassinate most of the people in Holy See Town, and even most of the powerhouses. Dragon assassin organization, dragon assassin organization. Two low growls came out of the mouth of the captain. His eyes were blood-red, and he clenched his fists tightly. His body was emitting a terrifying aura. It's that kid, it must be that kid. You deserve to die, deserve to die. As he said that, his eyes flashed with a cold glint. He suddenly raised his head and gritted his teeth, his expression ferocious. Although the 30 over people who were assassinated today were not the full strength of the Dogfish mercenary group, they still took up half of it. This was his life's work. Now that half of it had been destroyed, how could he not be angry? That kid. The surrounding city guards looked at each other when they heard the words of the Dogfish mercenary group leader. This was a vendetta. It was normal on the transcendental continent, but the other party had hired an assassin. The woman standing in front took out a jade plate and looked at it, but she didn't find any traces. Just like yesterday, the assassin had concealed himself well. Looking at the red paper on the door, she not only sighed, this assassin organization was too arrogant. After killing, they had left a mark to prove that they had killed the person. They were extremely arrogant. Captain Dogfish, I'm sorry for your loss, a middle-aged city guard said after hesitating for a moment. He then looked at the woman in front of him. The woman nodded and the group walked out. This was their personal grudge. The city guards would not get involved and would not look for the murderer. Unless Captain Dogfish could produce enough evidence, they would not make a move to arrest him. They had no way to deal with the assassin organization. This was a world where force was the most important thing. If they really wanted to catch the assassins, it would be a pipe dream. Most importantly, if they really wanted to catch the assassins, they would become enemies with the assassin organization. The assassin organization didn't care if you were an official of the kingdom or a minister of the kingdom. Since they were enemies, it was possible to assassinate the public officials of Holy See Town, or even the city guards. This wasn't impossible. The assassin organization was in the dark. If they didn't have the ability to completely eliminate them, it was best not to provoke them. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future. Every kingdom and empire had an assassin organization. A powerful assassin organization even made the empire afraid. Their small Holy See Town could not afford to offend an assassin organization. A group of city guards walked out. When the people gathered outside saw them, they discussed in low voices. The news of the assassination of the vice leader of the Dogfish mercenary group spread very quickly. The assassination of a transcendent level 5 expert spread throughout the entire Holy See Town in the morning. When they learned of the actions of the Dragon Assassin organization, their faces were filled with shock. After the assassination, the assassin left behind a red piece of paper. The name of the paper is Congratulations, which means congratulations on your death. It's too arrogant. Dragon Assassin organization. Is this a newly established organization or an assassin organization from another place? This is the first time I've heard of it, but this assassination can be said to be famous after one battle. I wonder how to contact this assassin organization. Some people were discussing in shock, while others were thinking about how to contact the assassin organization. Many people knew that there was an undercurrent assassin organization in Holy See Town. The Undercurrent was the strongest assassin organization in the entire Star Moon Kingdom, but this assassin organization had too few people and too high a commission. Once it failed, it would only refund half of the commission. Unless forced, no one would hire assassins. Not to mention hiring powerful assassins to deal with their own enemies. Assassins were not easy to nurture, and not everyone could become an assassin. For example, if one wanted to become an assassin, one had to have a fixed inheritance and a fixed method of advancement. When an assassin wanted to become an assassin, they first had to possess a powerful concealment divine ability. Generally speaking, a divine ability corresponded to a corresponding attribute. For example, the supernatural ability of the Undercurrent would temporarily turn into water and enter the room. To execute this supernatural ability, one first had to possess the water attribute. Secondly, one had to comprehend this supernatural ability of turning into water. This was only the first step to becoming a killer. Just this step alone would stop countless people. This was only the beginning. To become a beginner-level killer, one could hunt warriors at the first or second stage of the extraordinary realm. Next, one had to comprehend the supernatural ability related to assassination. The comprehension of supernatural ability did not mean that one could comprehend any type of supernatural ability. It was very difficult to comprehend supernatural ability, let alone a fixed supernatural ability. It was several times more difficult. On the Transcendence continent, there were many warriors at the first level of Transcendence. Above that, it would decrease by several hundred times. Some people might not be able to comprehend a second supernatural ability even after 100 or 200 years. Even if an assassin comprehended a second killing divine ability, he would only be able to assassinate martial artists at the third level of the extraordinary realm. The success rate of assassinating martial artists one level higher than him would be less than 30%. Not to mention comprehending a fixed divine ability. However, if you didn't comprehend a fixed divine ability, that was fine. You were an assassin, but if you comprehended an area of effect attack with a large area of effect attack, then what was the point of assassinating? When you use your divine ability, others will notice it. An assassin would take advantage of their surprise and kill them in one strike. If they couldn't do it, they would immediately flee thousands of miles away. To an assassin, an area of effect attack was simply courting death. Moreover, not many people were willing to become an assassin who lived in the darkness, unless the assassin organization nurtured their own loyal assassin. Then, it was already rare for a fifth-rank extraordinary assassin to be nurtured out of 100,000 people. And the cost of nurturing such an assassin was too terrifying. The assassins in this world were not as easy to nurture as on Earth. Of course, if it was only to assassinate a martial artist at the first rank of the extraordinary, it would still be easy to nurture an assassin at this level. Clearly, this was only an assassin of a lower level. All sorts of harsh conditions resulted in very few assassins. Even the biggest assassin organization in Star Moon Kingdom, Undercurrent, had only assassinated a rank 9 transcendent. This had shocked the entire Star Moon Kingdom. Chapter 898 was shrouded in the light of death. Within a day, the entire Shanghai town was shaken by the Dragon Assassin organization. When Wang Xian realized that everyone in Shanghai town was shaken, he was slightly taken aback. Soon after, he understood that it was very difficult to train assassins in this world. Dragon King. At this moment, Long Yi and the rest came into the room and shouted at Wang Xian. "We have found the 20 spies. Should we proceed with the next operation?" The group of Draconids said to him. "Continue with the operation. If we only assassinate the members of the Horned Shark mercenary group, we might be exposed." Wang Xian said immediately. He waved his hand and said, "This is 20 drops of dragon blood. Let them swallow it. Then, give each of them a communication stone plate. Tonight, I want all the upper-class people in Shanghai town to get the contact information of the Dragon Assassin mercenary group. After that, the light will envelop the entire Shanghai town." Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slowly and said with a solemn face, "It's the Dragon King. Let's get ready immediately." The group of Draconids left immediately. Wang Xian had to control 100% of the spies of the Dragon Assassin organization. This way, even if the spies were caught, nothing would be leaked. These spies were all people who were about to die. Now that they had gained another few hundred years of life, they wouldn't refuse even if they knew that they could die at any time. However, every day that they lived was another day. Moreover, as long as they hid well, there wouldn't be any danger. The light will envelop the Holy Sea town. However, this is the light of death. Wang Xian mumbled. A day passed slowly. The leader of the Squawk Shark mercenary group gathered all the members who were carrying out their mission. After Bei Qianjun and Qing Gaia learned that Ao Kuang had been assassinated, their faces were filled with fear. They were afraid that it would be their turn tonight. When they thought of that young man, a hint of fear and embarrassment appeared on their faces. In order to seek revenge for their children urgently, they went to look for an assassin organization. However, they did not expect that the other party would also look for an assassin organization. Moreover, It was such a powerful assassins organization. At night, the Bei and Qing families were brightly lit. Bei Qianjun and Qing Gaya even gathered in a courtyard and sat there discussing countermeasures with embarrassed expressions on their faces. What should we do? What if this assassins organization comes to assassinate us? It shouldn't be. According to the information we've received, that kid lives in a slum area. He probably doesn't have that much money to hire an assassin. Let's hope so. Where did this dragon assassin organization come from? How can it be so powerful? The undercurrent branch in our Holy See town only has a transcendent level 5 assassin at most. The two of them talked with an embarrassed expression. Whoosh. At this moment, a flying knife suddenly flew towards them. Watch out! Watch out! The two's expressions changed drastically as they hurriedly stood up, their bodies emitting a terrifying aura. Bang! A flying knife landed on the pillar of the house. The two's expressions were filled with shock as they looked over. Hiss, this time. This is the piece of paper that congratulates death. Why did they send us a piece of paper? The two's bodies trembled as fear appeared on their faces. Bei Qianjuan's expression changed as he quickly walked over and pulled out the flying knife that was embedded in the pillar. His eyes flashed as he took the piece of paper. There are words on it. What's written on it? Qing Gaya quickly asked. It's the contact information of the Dragon Assassin organization. Bei Qianjuan's expression changed drastically as he looked at the contact information and immediately took out his communication stone plate. At the same time, all the powerful forces and families in the entire Shanghai town received a contact information from the Dragon Assassin organization. This caused the expressions of everyone in the entire Shanghai town to change slightly. Some of them frowned while some of them revealed a hint of viciousness on their faces. The next morning, the sun was still rising high in the sky. Wang Xian opened his eyes and revealed a smile on his face. He had a simple breakfast. Dragon King, there are already people looking for us. Wang Xian had just finished his breakfast when a group of draconids walked over excitedly and said to him, "Is that so? The business is here already?" Wang Xian was full of smiles. What mission? To assassinate the leader of an extraordinary level 4 mercenary group. The draconids replied immediately. What is the character of the leader of the mercenary group? Wang Xian asked faintly. Although the Dragon Assassin group was established, Wang Xian did not make the group a zombie. There were 3 types of missions that the Dragon Assassin group did not accept. They did not accept missions to assassinate children. They did not accept missions to assassinate good people. They did not accept missions that exceeded the capabilities of the Dragon Assassin group. The 3 types of missions that the Dragon Assassin group did not accept could be considered as the bottom line of an assassin group. Dragon King, the leader of the mercenary group that the other party requested to assassinate, is not a good person. I heard that he has killed quite a number of members of the mercenary group in the wild. The group of draconids knew the rules set by Wang Xian and would definitely follow them. They immediately said, "All right, Ao Yarrow, do it." Wang Xian nodded and said directly to the side, "It's the Dragon King." Ao Yarrow's voice rang out before it disappeared immediately. "Dragon King, there's another mission." Not long after, another draconid walked over. There was another mission. The reward for the mission was extremely generous. If one were to assassinate a level 3 extraordinaire and obtain jade to buy elixirs, the reward would be increased by 20 dragon crystals. If one were to assassinate a level 4 extraordinaire and exchange it for dragon crystals, the reward would be 100 dragon crystals. Assassinating a level 5 transcendent expert would be worth 700 dragon crystals. Assassinations were far more profitable than mercenary missions. In a short morning, the Dragon Spike received 5 missions, one of which he rejected. 4 missions, assassinating 1 level 3 transcendent, 2 level 4 transcendents, and 1 level 5 transcendent. None of them were innocent people who could not be killed. Carry out the mission immediately. Wang Xian gave the order on the spot. Currently, the Dragon Assassin organization had a total of 21 strange demons who had evolved into light spikes. Including Ao Yarrow, there were a total of 8 level 3 transcendents. Light spikes with level 3 transcendence had an 80% success rate in assassinating level 5 transcendence. Kill. After Dragon Spike received the mission and obtained the commission through the spy, the Dragon Assassin organization took action. 1 was at rank 3 transcendent, 2 were at rank 4 transcendent, and 1 was at rank 5 transcendent. These 4 people were very weak to Dragon Spike. During the day, in a restaurant, a burly middle-aged man slammed the table and shouted, "Waiter, serve the wine." An old man was sitting in his shop with a smile on his face. A young man was walking toward the forging workshop with a weapon in his hand. A leader of a mercenary group led a group of members to the Red Chamber in an awe-inspiring manner. The sun was high up in the sky. The 4 of them were in the middle of a riot during the day, so they were not vigilant at all. The light of death shrouded them. Chapter 899, The light of death enveloped the area. Haha, this is great. The burly middle-aged man happily picked up the entire jar of wine and poured it into his mouth. There were not many people around the second floor of the restaurant. Some warriors quickly turned their heads when they saw the burly middle-aged man. This burly middle-aged man was not someone they could provoke. Haha, this is great. The burly middle-aged man wiped the wine from his mouth, reached out to pick up the wine jar, and raised his head. However, at this moment, a white light flashed. Cough, cough, cough. The burly middle-aged man's body stiffened slightly, and the wine in the wine jar that he lifted quickly poured into his mouth. However, what was terrifying was that the wine actually flowed out from his throat. Bang, bang. The middle-aged man's body fell to the ground, and the wine jar shattered. What's going on? The guests and waiters on the second floor were slightly shocked, and they quickly looked at the burly middle-aged man. When they saw the blood on the burly middle-aged man's neck, they were shocked. What? A middle-aged man widened his eyes, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. What happened? How? How did Li Xiong get killed all of a sudden? How is that possible? He was drinking just now. The wound on his neck. This. Look at that. It's a congratulatory note. It's the Dragon Spike. It's the Dragon Assassin organization. My God, they killed people in the daytime, and they were right next to us. Li Xiong, a level 4 transcendent, was killed right away. Everyone on the second floor was shocked and couldn't help but exclaim. They didn't even see how the killer made his move. They didn't even see Li Xiong put up any resistance. He died directly. This made everyone feel a deep fear. This was a level 4 transcendent expert. At the same time, a young man walked towards the forging workshop. The Holy Artifact Workshop was located in the center of Holy Sea Town. It was one of the best workshops in the entire Transcendence continent. Young Master Zhu is here. Welcome, young Master Zhu. The young man had just walked to the entrance of the biological workshop when the attendant inside greeted him with a smile. "Ian, is my weapon ready?" The young man raised his head slightly and said with a smile. "Of course, young Master Zhu. The forging is ready and waiting for you to take it." In the future, when young Master Zhu enters East Sea Academy with the weapons of our holy item forging workshop, he will definitely be able to slaughter everyone. The waiter flattered him and turned around with a smile on his face, leading the way. The young man nodded proudly. As the most outstanding prodigy of Holy Sea Town, he would definitely be the most dazzling existence when he entered East Sea Academy. Everyone had to submit to him. He could have as many women as he wanted. At the thought of this, a devilish smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. However, at this moment, he felt a chill on his neck. His eyes widened and his entire body instantly lost all its strength. "Young Master Zhu, please come in." At this moment, the waiter turned his head, bent his body and made a welcoming gesture with his arms. Bang! However, the young man's body fell straight into the holy item forging workshop, and blood slowly flowed out. Ah! A terrified scream came out of the waiter's mouth. At this moment, in 2 other places, the light of death also enveloped them. Soon, in less than half a day, the entire Holy Sea Town was boiling. In the courtyard of the city guard's office, 4 bodies were placed on the ground. Next to each body was a red piece of paper. After the incident with the Dogfish mercenary group yesterday, Everyone knew what this piece of paper represented. Congratulations on death. The Dragon Assassin Group. At this moment, more than 100 city guards were standing at the side. The one in front was still the woman. A middle-aged man stood beside the woman. The middle-aged man had long hair like a waterfall and was wearing a long robe. He seemed to have a special temperament. Reporting to my lord, it's the Dragon Assassin organization. They are simply too terrifying. They were assassinated in the daytime. There are many people around them, but no one could see the killers clearly. We didn't find them through the formation either. It seems that they can avoid the detection of the formation. This. The city guard captain of Holy See Town stared at the corpse on the ground with an embarrassed look and said with some fear, assassinations happened almost every month in Holy See Town. However, it was the first time that a level 3, 2 level 4, and a level 5 transcendent were killed in broad daylight. It was strange, terrifying, and unbelievable. All the city guards looked extremely embarrassed. In the face of such a terrifying assassin, how could they investigate? Investigate my ass, sir. At this moment, 3 old men rushed over with a red piece of paper in their hands. Sir, this is something an old friend of mine gave me. Last night, the Dragon Assassin organization threw a throwing knife at his house. The contact information of the Dragon Assassin organization is written on it. Through the Jade Plate, you can contact the Dragon Assassin organization. You can issue missions and hire them. An old man in the middle handed the red paper to the middle-aged man and another Jade Plate to him. Contact the Dragon Assassin organization? The middle-aged man received it expressionlessly, and the woman next to him walked over curiously. Yes, through the communication Jade Plate, you can contact the Dragon Assassin organization and hire them. However, there are 3 kinds of missions that the Dragon Assassin organization doesn't accept. They don't accept missions to assassinate children. They don't accept missions to assassinate people of great virtue. They don't accept missions that exceed the capabilities of the Dragon Assassin organization. The old man replied. Oh, 3 kinds of missions that they don't accept, that's really. The middle-aged man paused for a moment, and a smile appeared on his face. What a principled assassin organization. There's such an assassin organization. Don't assassins on the continent kill people for money? The woman next to him was also curious. They don't accept missions to assassinate children, and they don't accept missions to assassinate kind people. I feel that this assassin organization is a little merciful. Some people still have a bottom line. As the middle-aged man spoke, a hint of admiration appeared in his eyes. This assassin organization was able to instantly kill transcendents of level 5 in the middle of the day. It's definitely not simple. Sir, what should we do about this matter? Now, the entire Holy See Town is in an uproar. Everyone is talking about the Dragon Assassin organization. The Dragon Assassin organization's assassination this time is simply too sensational. It's blown up, the old man said with a dark face. HMPH, it's blown up. These are all tasks that they issued themselves. Moreover, the people who died aren't good people. So what if they die? The middle-aged man snorted and said directly. Not to mention the 3 non-killing rules of the Dragon Assassin Group. Even if the Dragon Assassin Group was an organization that killed people for money, he would not dare to offend them. Although his power was not afraid of this assassin group, he still had his family and subordinates. Even if he was the highest officer and the strongest person in the entire Holy See Town, he would not dare to offend such a terrifying assassin group. Chapter 900, The Crazy Holy See Town. The middle-aged man's words made the surrounding 100 people slightly silent, and then they slowly nodded. First, this assassin organization appeared out of nowhere. It was extremely mysterious, and its strength was also extremely terrifying. They could not rashly provoke it. Second, this assassin organization had its own bottom line. They did not accept missions from children, and they did not accept missions from kind people. Just these 2 points alone made this assassin organization beyond their control. Some of the city guards even admired this Dragon Assassin organization for being able to stick to their bottom line. Disperse. Let their families come and collect the bodies. The middle-aged man waved his hand and said to them, "Yes, sir." Everyone nodded and looked at the ground, slowly shaking their heads. Among the dead, the young man was the most outstanding student of St. C Academy in St. C Town. He had passed the East C Academy's assessment with excellent results. But now, he was killed. The city guards knew a little about this young man. He liked women and had once defiled a girl. He was not a good person. What a killer organization with personality. I want to join them. The woman in the middle stuck out her tongue and said with a smile, "All right, stop fooling around." The middle-aged man patted the woman's head and walked out with a smile. At this moment, everyone in Holy See Town was talking about the Dragon Assassin organization. It's too horrifying. A rank 5 transcendent was killed on the street. How could it be so terrifying? A 3-star Silver Tier mercenary group leader was instantly killed by a group of subordinates. This is the most terrifying part. The Dragon Assassin group appeared out of nowhere. It's too powerful. Damn, I heard that many people now know the contact information of the Dragon Assassin group. Could it be that someone killed me? I feel that the Dragon Assassin group is even more terrifying than the undercurrent. They actually killed people in the middle of the city during the day without being discovered by anyone. This is unbelievable. It's definitely the work of a very powerful assassin. Whether it was in the hotel or in the Demon Hunter mercenary group, everyone was talking about it. They killed an expert in the middle of the city during the day without anyone noticing. It was so terrifying. So powerful. This assassin organization is so powerful. The mission that I issued this morning was completed by noon. Moreover, the method was so shocking. It's simply too powerful. Haha, this Dragon Assassin organization is so awesome. It's simply too awesome. When the people from the Dragon Assassin organization received the news, they were excited. They were happy that their opponents were not killed. No, the Dragon Assassin organization is too powerful. Will someone hire the Dragon Assassin organization to assassinate me? However, they soon became worried. The Dragon Assassin organization was so powerful. Would someone hire them to assassinate them? Not only these people, but everyone in Holy See Town was terrified. With the strength of the Dragon Assassin organization, would someone hire them to assassinate him? If someone did, wouldn't he be finished? Living in Holy See Town, which of the big families didn't have competitors? Would competitors hire the Dragon Assassin? Everyone was terrified. However, some people had a clear conscience. What are you afraid of? I have a clear conscience all my life. I have never done anything wrong. On the contrary, many people have received my favor. Even if I have offended many people, according to the rules of the Dragon Thorns, they will not accept my mission. That's right. Father has always been open and above board. In Shanghai Town, the reputation of our Tang family can be ranked in the top 3. Since the Dragon Thorns Assassin organization has given the rule of 3 no-kill, they will definitely stick to it. Otherwise, an assassin organization would not take unnecessary actions. I'm not afraid, but you guys shouldn't do anything wrong. We have a lot of enemies. If your hands and feet are dirty, you deserve to be assassinated. Don't worry, Father. We didn't do anything wrong. Today, we will open the charity hall and help some people. Okay. The Tang family in Shanghai Town was also a relatively strong family. In the hall, everyone from the Tang family was talking. On the same day, the Tang family announced the opening of the charity hall to provide relief to those in need. Compared to the peace of mind of the Tang family, the others were much more apprehensive. In the evening, many people also learned about the 3 don't kill of the Dragon Assassin organization. This surprised many people, but at the same time, they were also somewhat impressed. An assassin organization actually set such a rule. It had to be said that it was definitely the first one on the transcendental continent. However, there were very few people who had a clear conscience and were truly kind. In this world where the strong were respected, there were very few of them. This made many people go crazy. Dragon King, since this afternoon, many people have contacted our Dragon Spur mercenary group. Up until now, we have accumulated 30 missions. The highest mission is to assassinate a level 6 transcendent, and the lowest mission is to assassinate a level 2 transcendent. At night, a group of Draconids came to Wang Xian's room and reported to him. 30 missions? That many? Wang Xian was astonished and asked immediately. It's the Dragon King. There are many of them. Now, the entire Shanghai town is talking about our dragon assassin organization, the group of Draconids said with fervent eyes. We need to select these 30 missions. All right, we will accept the mission according to our rules. If the mission to assassinate a transcendent level 6 meets the requirements, we will accept it too. Wang Xian said directly. It's the Dragon King. The Draconids nodded. Ding. The path of the strong does not lose its eyes due to benefits and strength. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the hidden mission set by the Light and Dark Dragon God. You have obtained the Heart of Light and Dark and the Heart of the Pricking Dragon. At this moment, the system's voice sounded. Wang Xian was slightly taken aback. This works. Wang Xian's face was filled with astonishment. Heart of Light and Dark, Heart of the Prickling Dragon. What is this? Just as he finished his sentence, a divine dragon suddenly appeared beside him. The divine dragon was half bright and half dark. It looked very strange. It was only the size of a palm and contained terrifying powers of light and dark. Buzz. The divine dragon moved and entered Wang Xian's heart directly. Boom. In an instant, Wang Xian felt the 5 elements' energy in his body trembling violently as if it was rejecting the entry of light and darkness. The heart of light and darkness seemed to feel extremely helpless and could only enter Wang Xian's head directly. In an instant, Wang Xian felt as if his head had exploded. Congratulations to host for merging with the heart of light and darkness. Congratulations to host for comprehending the divine ability, the eye of light and darkness. Congratulations to host for comprehending the divine ability, void. Congratulations to host for comprehending the divine ability, no formation. Host's level has increased. Congratulations to host for comprehending the piercing pupil. A series of system voices rang out, causing Wang Xian to be stunned. What is this heart of light and darkness? Why is it so powerful? Wang Xian's eyes were filled with astonishment. Chapter 901, On Light and Darkness. Ding, the eye of light and darkness, endless wood, piercing pupil and the eye of heavenly dragon are fused into the eye of light and darkness fire dragon. Ding, the void divine ability is transformed into the light and darkness void. Ding, the formless divine ability is transformed into the light and darkness void. Just when Wang Xian was shocked by the heart of light and darkness, the system's voice sounded again. This made him slightly stunned. With a thought, he immediately checked his information. Name, Wang Xian. Race, 5 elements divine dragon, able to transform into a human. Level, extraordinary level 3. Dragon crystal, 810000. Supernatural ability, ruling the water tribe that is lower than one's level. Devouring creatures to extract dragon crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, divine dragon transformation. Supernatural ability, burning the river and boiling the sea, gold splitting the void, descending of the wood realm, water crisis city, fury of the earth, soul capture, spirit possession, light and dark fire dragon eyes, light and dark void, light and dark shadowlith. Dragon Palace, level 2. Members of Dragon Palace, 3255. I've actually comprehended all the supernatural powers of the prickly dragon, and it even evolve. This heart of light and dark. Wang Xian frowned and checked the reward that he suddenly received in his mind. When he finished reading the information about the heart of light and dark in his mind, his eyes sparkled. The heart of light and darkness was the supreme treasure of the divine dragon god of light and darkness. It could be integrated into the heart. The divine dragon god of light and darkness was the only divine dragon among the divine dragons who possessed both the light and darkness attributes. His abilities were ranked in the top 3 among the divine dragons. This heart of light and darkness was a supreme treasure that he had obtained unintentionally. It was also because of the heart of light and darkness that he was able to become the divine dragon of light and darkness. Just now, The heart of light and darkness wanted to enter Wang Xian's heart and turn him into the divine dragon of light and darkness. However, the power of the 5 elements was too powerful and directly repelled it. It could only reside in his mind. Even so, Wang Xian had obtained quite a number of supernatural powers. It had even increased his strength by 1 level. If he were to completely absorb the heart of light and darkness, his strength would definitely increase crazily. However, it was due to the attributes of the 5 elements. Although light and darkness were powerful, it was still impossible to replace the 5 elements. Although the heart of light and darkness did not replace the 5 elements, it still allowed me to live with some supernatural powers. Does this mean that I have a chance to become a divine dragon with all attributes, including the 5 elements of light and darkness plus wind and thunder? Wang Xian thought to himself. However, he shook his head immediately. He did not dare to think of a divine dragon with all attributes. The thorned dragon is the descendant of the light and dark divine dragon. As the saying goes, dragons have 9 sons, and each of them is different. The thorned dragon has inherited the innate talent and attributes of the light and dark divine dragon. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the heart of the thorned dragon. A thorned dragon that was the size of a palm was a combination of light and darkness. Its form was similar to the Ao Yaro Yaro of today. However, it was only half light and half darkness. The Ao Yaro could only be considered as a half-completed spiky dragon. The main reason was that it only possessed the light attribute. Hence, it became the current light spike. In order to become a complete spiky dragon, one would need to evolve into a dark spike from a member of the dragon clan who possessed the darkness attribute. However, when they were combined together, they would form a spiky dragon. Ao Yao. Wang Xian looked at the heart of the spiky dragon and shouted to the side. Dragon King. Ao Yaro revealed herself and looked at the heart of the spiky dragon that was floating in the air. Her eyes sparkled. Absorb it and you should be able to evolve into a complete spiky dragon, Wang Xian said to Ao Yaro. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yaro nodded and aimed her claws at the body of the heart of the spiky dragon. Buzz. The moment she touched it, the heart of the spiky dragon entered the body of the spiky dragon. Boom. In an instant, it was as if an energy exploded from the body of the thorned dragon. One of his eyes turned into a strange black color. Following that, half of his body began to slowly turn black. Half of it was light, and the other half was darkness. A real thorned dragon, wandering between light and darkness. The strongest assassination dragon of the divine dragon race, the thorned dragon. Boom. A strange aura was emitted from Ao Yaro's body. Darkness and light interweaved. The arm that had claws was emitting white light. The scythe-like arm was emitting evil darkness. Wang Xian waved his arm and quickly resisted Ao Yaro's aura. A thick smile appeared on his face. Thank you, Dragon King. A few minutes later, Ao Yaro kneeled on the ground respectfully and thanked him. Not bad. Although your level has only increased by 1 level, you are now qualified to hunt down a level 7 extraordinaire. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. Ao Yaro was already at the peak of level 3 extraordinaire. After the modification and evolution of the heart of the prickling dragon, he had directly upgraded to level 4 extraordinaire. With the strength of level 4 of transcendence and the complete inheritance of the prickling dragon, it was sufficient for him to possess the strength of a true divine dragon. Assassinating experts who were 3 levels above him. I have also obtained the divine ability of the prickling dragon. However, due to my size, I am still inferior to Ao Yaro in assassination. Wang Xian looked at his arm. With a slight movement, his arm turned into nothingness. This was the divine ability, nothingness. Other than these few divine abilities, the strongest one was the light and dark fire dragon eyes. The light and dark fire dragon eyes were the fusion of 4 eye-related divine abilities. Now, it had the same ability as before. It was even more powerful. The heart of light and dark is located at the head. The eyes are also located here. It must be affected by the heart of light and dark. Wang Xian thought to himself. Dragon King, all the missions have been selected. At this moment, a group of draconids walked over and said to Wang Xian, Dragon King, we have discovered something interesting. Someone has offered a high price to assassinate you. Assassinate me? When Wang Xian heard their words, a smile appeared on his face. I've accepted the mission. You've accepted it. The group of Draconids were slightly stunned. I've accepted it. In Shanghai town, there are only 3 people who will issue this mission. The leader of the squalid shark mercenary group, Bai Qianjun, and Qinggu Ya. After accepting the mission and receiving the reward, kill them all, Wang Xian said with a smile. To hire an assassin, one had to give a reward in advance. After the reward was given, the assassin organization would take action. Now, they found an assassin to assassinate him and actually found the Dragon Assassin organization. How interesting. It's the Dragon King. The group of Draconids nodded their heads. Wang Xian took out the communication stone plate and looked at the information on the mission. He shook his head slowly. After today, I believe the entire Shanghai town will be in chaos. More than a dozen important figures, TSK. Wang Xian passed the communication stone plate to Ao Yarrow and said, after the Draconids receive their reward, we will act immediately. Yes. Ao Yarrow nodded and disappeared in an instant. This time, the communication stone plate in his hand disappeared as well. In the past, if Ao Yarrow had something in his hand, he wouldn't be able to disappear so quickly. Now, it was a piece of cake. Assassinating a level 3 extraordinary is equivalent to 20 dragon crystals in exchange for resources. Level 4 transcendent is equivalent to 100 draconic crystals. Level 5 transcendent is equivalent to 700 draconic crystals. Level 6 transcendent is equivalent to 2000 draconic crystals. Level 7 transcendent is equivalent to 10,000 draconic crystals. If these missions are completed and converted into resources, it can reach 5,000 draconic crystals. It cannot level up, but it can raise the dragon spike to a terrifying level.